Ha cha cha. We should be. Is there a reason it's not? Oh, there it goes. It just took a minute. Good, good, good. Okay, now I need to go do this. There, now John knows we're live. Surely.
Let's go.
There, you know what, just to make sure.
I enjoy pinging people in DMs because it doesn't do anything. Because messaging them normally does the same thing to them, I believe.
And I mean, I don't know if you can mute a group chat for notifications.
Yeah. I mean,
this
yeah,
point,
maybe.
I would
Maybe you
imagine
could
that
change
it
it
would do the
to
same
something
thing it
different.
would if you muted like a regular channel. That's why I do it. That's what I assume.
No, but because DMs always give the a little notification you have one important message kind of thing.
Where does?
OMG, look, it's Hollow. There she is.
Where else does this? Yeah, that's John. Every week, or just this week.
Something about there being the gift just kind of plastered on top, and also John kind of just plastered on top of Dodge. There's something so beautiful about the top left of the stream right now.
It's very
Something
beautiful.
so beautiful about how scuffed it is.
It just reminds you that of all things that cause me the most amount of problems on this podcast, it's John. One of those isn't his fault. One of those is my fault for being too lazy and not knowing where I saved the original templates or how I fucking made the templates originally for the borders and not wanting to go redo them. Hey everybody. It's episode 4-5, week 4-5 of the Anime Affray Save or Slays podcast, the spring season, 2024. We do this every once in a while, and you might have noticed it's been a while, so it's a double vote off week. And then it's still been a while, so I don't know, we're gonna figure that out after we do this episode about what we're doing to try to stay on track, because we're technically a week behind still. On top of whatever behind we were, because ideally we would be doing another one this weekend. We'll see. Who the fuck knows? I mean,
we do one this week, and then
Surely
we
not
double
I.
the week after that.
when we're done this week, there'll only be 6. We'll be halfway there after this week. We'll be halfway there. 3 more episodes to 3 more episodes and then the finale. So we could do it. It's doable. But yeah. But if you didn't know, we watch 12 shows at the start of this podcast, and we've worked our way down to, as I said, 8. And we have watched episodes 6 and 7 for remaining 8 shows. We're going to talk about them. Oh my god, I did not think about who was going to talk about the shows for John. We'll have to work that out as we go. I know who's talking about... I know who... I'm going to talk about Whisper. You're going to let me talk about Whisper. It's basically my show at this point, if he's not here. I might also have to talk about Spice and Wolf. Mason, I know you watched it with me, but I don't know how awake you were when you were watching it with me.
I was there. I have watched it twice. I do remember it.
Yeah. And then, does he have anything else still?
No,
He
just
do-
those.
no,
Just
he
his
had bar-
mother
he
would
had
have been
bartender.
Unnamed.
Yeah.
No, unnamed was
bartender?
mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we
See, they're
lost
both right next
of
to each other. I was like,
mine.
See, I know he's in
that was fair.
Yeah. Also, Unnamed's the kind of show he would pick.
He kind of liked it, so that's fair. But yeah, so after we
Wasn't a
talk about all
bad
the shows,
show.
after we talk about
It was
apparently
fine.
its anime's gotten farther than the manga, not the light novel, the manga. It's
That's
already
really
past where the
funny.
manga adaptation is, which is really funny. So
Yeah, manga
be-
adaptations are really slow.
for light novels, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, after we're done talking about all these shows, we're just gonna vote. We're gonna vote 2 of them off this week. It's double vote off. So the 2 shows with the most slays, as opposed to saves, are gonna get voted off the podcast. Hence the name, Save or Slay. So there's gonna be spoilers for episodes 6 and 7s. Nothing past that. If you spoil anything past that, the audience or dear chat goers who are always here in high numbers, as we know, we're going to ban you because we can afford to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, we can. That's not a joke. That part's not a joke.
Fuck should get hit.
And then also there's going to be harsh language if I didn't say it. Brain's a little fried for no good reason. It's the heat. It's hot. So yeah, that's how this works around here. Real quick, you know, we got a little bit of time. You know, it's only 8:30. That's way better than it normally is around here.
Yeah,
it's much better than what it would have been if we would have done this last. Oh, I guess I should address the hollow in the room. John's not here. So we did this double vote off to accommodate John's schedule. Only then, for us to get to the middle of the week last week, and for John to go, I can't do these days, and Michael to go, I can't do this day, and I go, I guess we're doing Tuesday. Only for us to get to Tuesday night, where I go, I should be done watching anime, because my internet went out the night before. So I left work a little early to do important work that needed to be done, as one does. And thus, I was done watching shows by 11, and I went to John, I should be done by 10:30, 11. And so, at 11, John messages, we'll be good. 12. And I'm in the call, Mason, I go, do you think that means he'll be good by 12 or in 12 minutes? And since we're here today, you know what the answer was. John willingly said, shit, my bad, go ahead and podcast, because Mason worked. And so he could not exist into 4 in the morning. Not that I think we were going to go that late, but any late was bad for Mason. So that is why John is not here. John has been given the power ranking, so he knows the general public opinion. John asked me a question in relation to the power ranking. I don't know if he sent anyone else anything.
He hasn't sent me any.
He said he might. Cool. So he asked me for one piece of clarification.
I mean, the thing is, like, the one thing that would be, like, even then, like, I've consistently had Whisper on the lower end, so, like, he's not gonna ask about me having lower.
The thing he asked about for me was not about something that was different on my list from his. It was about something that was very similar on my list, his, and Mason's. He was like, so we feel this way, right? And I'm like, basically. And that was what he asked me. I also sent him the voting doc. Guess what he hasn't done?
Yippee!
So we'll see if we need. We'll see. I mean, that's why I told him we were live. I'm hoping that will wake him up and he will. Oh, hey, I have a response in the voting doc. Cool. Thank you, John.
Yo, yippee!
You did it.
Let's go.
Maybe he was waiting for the live notification. I can only hope. I will keep my eye on chat if he's here. No, she took the doggo.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. But yeah, so that is why John is not here. We will carry on nonetheless, as we occasionally have to do. So real quick, let's current topic. Why Sean's sad? Well, just gonna put that on there.
Shonen Jump
so
hates
guys,
Sean
Shonen Jump hates me in particular, and you will hopefully eventually get a video about this.
Actually crazy how much they just hate Sean.
So funny.
You will eventually get a video about this
drunk on Sean
because
Shonen Jump.
I want to talk about a very particular manga in length, and now I have all the time. There's no deadline about when I need to talk about this manga. It'll just be either more or less relevant when I do. So I'm going to explain this funny little story that happened at this point 2 weeks ago, which was I had read chapter 25 of Green Green Greens, and I had been talking to a coworker previously about Green Green Greens, and I had said, hey, you know what's... I really like this manga. I'm probably going to do a video about why I like this manga and why people should read it. And I think... And I told him... this was like when... the manga had like 15 chapters, I had said this, and I was like, but I'm going to wait till I feel like we get to a point where I feel like the manga's in a good spot, it's like wrapped certain arcs, like a certain arc up, that I feel like it's in a good place that I can say, okay, it's done enough stuff that I feel like I can recommend it to people, where it's not just kind of floating in like we're at the start of a sports manga. And by chapter 25, I was like, yeah, this feels like a really good place for like the next arc to start. I should do a video. And as I was getting ready to do the video, I was going through my scripting. I was like, what has this mangaka also done? And I learned that they had previously done Beast Children, which is the rugby manga that ran in Shonen Jump and got canceled at 28 chapters. And I was like, you know what, before I do the video, I guess I should read Beast Children so I can have some idea about maybe why that might have got canceled, if the manga has grown since Beast Children, how I feel about Green Greens compared to Beast Children. And so in the span of that week, I read Beast Children. I was like, cool, I feel pretty good. And I was talking to my coworker. I'm like, yeah, so I've done all this. Now I feel pretty ready to do this video. Like, I've done a little bit of scripting for it. I'm excited to do it. And realistically, and this is what I said to him, I said, realistically, I should probably wait like 3 more chapters, just so that Green Greens clears the amount of chapters that Beast Children got canceled at. But I don't think Green Greens is in danger of being canceled, because it's really good. I think it's a lot better than Beast Children, and I think it's fucking incredible right now. And it doesn't feel like they're gonna cancel it. And then I woke up the next day and they canceled it. I woke up the next day, I'm at work, I go to read my manga, and normally I read Green Greens last, because I really like Green Greens and I like to end on a high note. So usually I start with JJK so it can piss me off, and then I go and I read all my other shit in order. Actually, usually I read JJK, then I read One Piece, just so I could, if One Piece has had a chapter. It didn't that week, but if One Piece had a chapter, I would read One Piece, because they're like the 2 big ones I'm reading. And then I go down and read all of my small stuff that I'm reading, and then I go and read Green, so I end on a good note. This week, just scrolling in my like recently updated or continue reading tab, Green Greens was at the very back, and I'm like, you know what, might as well start with Green Greens. And so I open up Green Greens, and it says chapter 26, final chapter. I go, why? I audibly take a screenshot, I crop it, I send it to the group chat, and I go, why? To me in particular. And so, yeah, I'm a little bummed about that. It's good, you should read it, I'll do a video about why. And then the next week, Michael sends a message in the group chat that goes, Sean, this is unfortunate for you. I go, oh no, what happened? And he goes, it's Dear Anemone. And I go, no. And I open Dear Anemone and I see final chapter. I go, what is this? Because quite literally, a few days before that, I was talking to somebody. It was either Mason or my friend at work, and I said, thankfully, I could see Dear Anemone getting canceled, but I think it's probably fine because its monster designs are so cool, and like, it has such a neat art style, and it has some really grotesque horror that sets it apart from everything else in the magazine. No, nothing's ever good enough.
It's wild too, because that last chapter of Dear Anemone certainly feels like they got told they were getting canceled last week.
Which I don't know how they do their cancellations exactly. I don't know how much heads up people get. For what it's worth, the mangaka for Green Greens was tweeting was not giving any tweets at all hinting that it was going to end. So that was a little off.
I mean, again, depending on how accurate Bakuman is, and how accurate it still is, because it's an old manga at this point. It's like 10 years old, I think, at least. They're given, I think it's 3 chapters of leeway. 1 chapter they're already in the middle of working on. So, you at best have 3 chapters to wrap up a story, I'm pretty sure, generally.
Yeah, that certainly did happen to Bleach. Bleach did get canned in 4 chapters.
For what it's worth, I mean, arguably, I think both Dear Anemone and Green Greens, if you were paying attention to certain things, you would be like, oh, we might be getting canceled in that 3-chapter window. Because in Green Greens, they are moving to the particular setup for the last 3 chapters or 2 chapters. But in its favor, it doesn't feel like it's the end of the manga. It feels like it's the end of one arc moving into another. So, like, Dear Anemone, they very much introduce a character who the manga is entirely about finding in the most recent past 3 chapters, which felt very weird to me. So I am not too surprised by that fact. So yeah, Shonen Jump hates me in particular, and I guess if I'm here to say anything, it's Shonen Jump. If you're listening, I just love Super Psychic Policeman Shoujo. It's such a good manga, and it would be a shame. You would ruin my life if next week that got canceled and something better replaced it. That would be crazy. That would be wild. Realistically, I'm expecting Psych House to go next because I saw some threads saying that there's some problems with it in Japan in terms of reception. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I like Psych House. I think it's a neat little thing.
I need to read more of it. Psych House was fun.
I haven't read any of it.
Wild that...
I'm not going to get into the manga. I dislike this magazine that currently exists.
Yeah. Wild that it just seems like the go-to right now is to put in more spirit yokai demon hunting stuff, and that is just going to be what Shonen Jump is 80%
and also Astro Royale.
Yeah. That manga did what before?
Based off art style, this looks like the guy who did Tokyo Revengers.
I thought he was a big mangaka.
Okay.
Let's find out quick.
What is this? Okay, it is a Tokyo Revengers person.
Okay. Oh, you're right. I'm looking at that art style. I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
And like, that's like very clearly Tokyo Revengers. Yeah, I didn't get through page 3 of that before I got bored of it. But that's also, it was just like generic action setup with superpowers, and I went, yeah, I'm good actually. I read JJK and One Piece and other things. I want more interesting things. That's just not what I'm looking for.
Fair.
Yeah, but I mean, because is Shonen Jump still 8 ongoing mangas? What's its slate? I forget.
So I mean, if you look at what just got chapters, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
like
12, 13, 14, 15. Those were all updated on the 16th. 6th, 7th?
Yeah, like
18.
I don't
know.
I'm pretty sure Shonen Jump runs at least like 16. It's a big magazine each week.
Yeah.
I forget how I remember.
Yeah, Blurry Dragon, I'm not sure if it's actually in the magazine. That one's.
I remember. I thought I remember that they have a certain amount of slots open, that which is why they cancel stuff pretty frequently. Is that if the stuff isn't doing well enough, it gets removed.
Yeah, but they have like a pretty big catalog.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure if there are certain ones that get to avoid that. Like, I'm not sure if JJK and One Piece count at this point anymore. Like, if they're big enough where they just keep them.
Well, again, not sure how accurate Bakuman is, but the idea is that they have like reader surveys, and the bottom few things consistently every week, like when they get to like, they go, okay, what's gonna become a new manga? They have to go, okay, if we want to put 2 new things in, we have to take 2 things out.
Yeah. What's wild is that my understanding is that in terms of fan response, Green Green Greens get like one of the most popular new mangas every week.
It was one of the best mangas in the magazine.
Yeah.
Like, that, Blue Box, and Akane Banashi are the 3 that I like really looked forward to every week.
Which is funny because when
Blue Box and Akane Banashi are not dying, hopefully, anytime soon.
When Green Greens got canceled, I saw someone take a shot at Blue Box where it's like Green Greens had a better romance than Blue Box, and I'm like, that's wild. That's like Blue Box's thing.
That's fair. Blue Box is also a much slower romance, the way it's.
I mean, so is arguably Green Greens doesn't ever get to a level of a romance. You could technically still view those 2 characters as not at all romantically into each other. It's just you could also view them as building into a romance. It depends how you want, but that's neither here nor there.
And Blue Box's big strength also comes from how fucking beautiful its badminton game looks like. Holy shit, does that look good when they go to like the action shots.
So now we get to raise the question, what things have we been up to, gang? What do we got? What do we want to talk about quick before we get into the meat?
I've been playing Destiny 2.
I know you have. It's almost like something came out.
Yeah, I think like a week and a half ago at this point. 2.5 weeks. Some amount of time ago. A thing called The Final Shape came out. Yeah, it's the big final in quotation marks expansion of Destiny 2. It's really good. There's a lot of new stuff to do, which is what happens every time there's a big expansion. I've been doing a lot of that. And I haven't been doing that. I've been reading Kuroko's Basketball. I am at chapter 234? Question mark.
You started that like a week ago.
I'm actually at chapter 241. But yeah, I am in the final game of the manga. I've watched it, so I know this is the final game. Like, I know where the story ends. Every time my brain tries to remember how certain plot points go, I always forget the exact order and how important. Because there's things I remember, I go, oh yeah, this was super important in the anime, and then it's a thing that took 3 pages in the manga. It felt like. Also probably because in the anime, a lot of they're like, oh yeah, we got this animation for this person doing some cool shit. We're gonna have them do that a lot. Like Aomine's on the court, we're gonna have him just dicking around for 12 minutes, just doing Aomine things, because that's just what he does. He's a goblin. He plays street ball, so his thing is literally he just has really good ball control and really good his acceleration, as they call it, is crazy. He can go from not moving to not moving faster than anyone can even react.
You've watched this show, right?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you just know every opening like the back of your hand because
they're all Grand Rodeo.
And if the Grand Rodeo thing plays on AM2 or something, there's a 90% chance it came from Kuroko.
Yeah.
So exactly. From one specific other show.
Is your big sports manga? Is your big sports anime manga Haikyuu? Is that your
Me?
first? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Haikyuu, I would say. That was the first.
Had you seen Petal? Or same thing, you just know the openings?
I just know the openings because those openings are bangers, and John watched it, so I played a lot of AMQ with him.
Got it. I
also, when it comes to anime music specifically, it does not matter if I've watched the show or not. It's just retained.
I just, for some reason, thought you had also...
Yep, no.
See, we found the gap in your anime watch history we have to fill, which is sport.
Yeah. I'm gonna
start you on the small, obscure things, to make you hate it, and then we'll watch the good, big stuff. So I'll load you up with stuff like giant killing and days, and then we'll watch one-outs.
Don't do it. Okay, that one's good.
Creed.
You assume it's good, Michael. You haven't actually seen one-outs.
Fair. Yeah.
And we'll watch Cardfight Vanguard because it's a sports.
Yeah, but talking about Haikyuu. Man, I cannot wait until November when we get the Blu-ray release and the actual official digital release of Dumpster Battle.
Are we gonna get it in theaters over here?
It's been in theaters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out 2.5 weeks ago.
Something like that.
A month.
Yeah, I need to see if there's any showings around me.
Yeah, I either need to do that or wait until November when we get the official release in places.
I hope there is, because the last time...
Go ahead, Mason.
I was just going to say, I hope there is, because the last time an anime movie that I wanted to see that was airing in theaters came out, it was Kaguya, and the closest theater was by John on the other side of the state.
Yo, Michael, do you think they're going to show Dumpster Battle at the theater by Wilkes, and that it's worth you and I driving up to Wilkes to watch it together?
That'd be a crazy thing to do. I mean, they might show it there. I don't imagine.
That's where we watched JJK there.
Yeah, we did.
We watched Zero in that theater.
Yeah.
We should consider.
I watched a lot of movies in that theater. That was crazy. It's a crazy theater.
Maybe we could find a theater near us, Michael, and we'll just go watch.
That's where I watched No Way Home.
We watched some stuff in that theater.
Good movie.
But yeah, what else, Michael?
God, it has been a while. That's other thing. I finished Neon White.
Yo.
Now I gotta go back and get all the gifts and get all the red ace medals because you can never be fast enough in that. I got all the ace medals. I made sure I didn't go past the stage until I had at least the ace, which is the best time in quotation marks until the game goes, okay, now cut 10 seconds off of that. The red ace medals are bonkers. One of the stages I have a 45 second, it's a 43 second time to get the ace. The red ace is 26. Because it's a completely new skip. They just go, yeah, you just don't actually play the stage anymore. Because the red aces are all you're sniping things from across the map as you're flying in a different direction.
Yeah.
And it's just oh, we're doing sillies now.
This is one of those weird moments where you realize that Michael, as a gamer, likes games that give him a speed challenge. That is a genre this man just plays.
Speedrunning's fun.
Because what, he you did stuff for Lost World, not Lost World.
Spark the Electric Jester.
Well, yes, that, but
Yeah.
you also did stuff for Frontiers, right? You played Frontiers stuff.
I mean, yeah, I did all of those time challenges, but
Yeah.
All of those minus the notorious stage 1-2 is literally did you get to the end of the stage without dying? You got the S rank on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
Those were actually so easy.
Yeah, that, Spark, this, Celeste you did stuff in.
Yeah, Celeste is just hard.
Celeste is, really fucking hard.
Good game, but it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Mason, what have you been up to? Besides work.
Let's
not talk about. We're just gonna avoid talking about work.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing for any of us to talk about.
Great. So I don't know if I said this before. I'm moving out of this place soon.
Yep.
My best friend and I are getting an apartment. I'm very excited.
Are you still in your state?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still in Michigan. Trying to think of what else I've done. Not a whole lot. I picked up Signalis, and I've gotten like 2 hours into that game.
Do you know what this is, Michael? Are you aware of Signalis?
I know about Sesbi and Lex. It's about all I know about that game. Also,
Understandable.
that's a horror game.
Yes.
But like I found it first through the Sesbi and Lex meme. That's where I know it from.
At some point, I need to show you just the opening of that game, just so you can understand how my brain went. Because essentially, what happened was I saw like one of my video essay people that I watch on YouTube doing a video essay on. I was like, okay, and they just gently commentate over the first 10 minutes of it before it shows you the opening credits. I watched through the opening credits and went, nope, I'm not watching this. I'm just buying this game. I need to play this.
That's fair. The game seems very fun with like, the tiny bits I've seen of it. I know it's like a horror game, which is not exactly my kind of thing, but also
it's
a sick game.
As far as I've seen, the actual like gameplay portion of it is Resident Evil, but like just more annoying than horror. But from what I've seen of everything outside of the main game, fuck. So I'm excited for that. I've been playing Rabbit and Steel. That game's just addicting as all hell. I enjoy my fun Final Fantasy XIV mechanics clone. Speaking of that, 14. I'm excited for that. I will not exist in about 2 weeks here.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna find a way to work around this with you guys. We're gonna have to.
Michael, you should definitely get caught up before it comes out.
Yeah, no. See, the issue is that when I was like
Destiny
about to get caught up,
Destiny
Final Shape was about to come out, so I yeah.
See, this is why I can't play an MMO. It's because I already don't have time. Imagine trying to do anything with me if I got it, besides playing the MMO. That would be the only upside.
I mean, so Sean, here's the thing.
This is why
I podcast while we're playing FF14.
So
I'm worried about.
We podcast in Limsa.
The boys
Posted open group chat. Come check out our anime podcast while we raid.
we're in the middle. We're just like sitting there. A group of Lalafels walk up, start doing /cheer.
We're just like talking about Windbreaker, just like, yeah, there's a fight. Man,
why the fuck are they standing in that circle?
Soccer is going crazy.
Sorry.
It's a limit cut. West first. Light parties.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the thing is, perhaps maybe I'll somehow convince people. Well, no, because I'm gonna be playing it on. I've already decided I'm playing Monster Hunter Wilds on my PS5. So unless it's crossplay,
I hope it's crossplay. It'd be really weird if that one's actually releasing cross-platform.
It is. Yes, it's supposed to be releasing cross-platform.
Because like Rise, understandably, was made for Switch first, and then everywhere else later.
Because boy, do I not want to buy it twice and then play through it with two separate groups. Because I will be playing through it on my PS5 with Ego, because that is what we do. That is like
that's your Monster Hunter guy.
Yeah, he's my guy. I have to play. Anything else, Mason?
Hades 2.
I did a little dabble run lately.
Yeah, I haven't played it a whole lot lately.
Did you play it since the new patch?
I think so.
They added all the trinket images. Yay!
Yes, I did play for like a couple hours with that.
Yeah, they adjusted
which was
stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I like the adjustments. The adjustments feel nice. It makes a lot some of the Daedalus hammers a lot better, and a lot of the weapons just feel nicer.
Yeah.
I don't think I've really done anything else, honestly. Oh, I finished X-Men 97.
I've heard very good things. I've heard incredible things about it.
That is legitimately, I think, the best cartoon ever made. Unironically, I think it is. I don't think I have been so emotionally moved by a cartoon in my life. And I consider Steven Universe and Avatar to be my two favorite shows.
That's a pretty high wall for you.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to check it out and see if I agree.
It's 10 episodes, and it handles one of the most notorious X-Men arcs in comics, and fuck. It's not a show for kids, is the best way I can put it.
Good.
Sick.
Mm-hmm.
So things I've been doing. I've cried. Thanks Green Greens. To fill that hole, I thought about starting Blue Box, but I remembered that I'm not doing that because it's getting animated, so I'm just going to watch the anime, and then once we get through that, I will read it. Like I said, I read Beast Children. That is not anything super special. I don't particularly know if I recommend people read Beast Children. It's something that, like, very much it being canceled is, like, oof. Whereas, like, Green Greens, again, I think wraps up at least somewhat nicely. I'll still very much be upset about it. Chainsaw Man happened.
Oh, yeah.
With the additional new chapter we got after the event, certainly very good. Again, really, really enjoy where Chainsaw Man is right now. Saw an article that was purely made for traction, because that happens. I just see it in my sidebar a bunch of times. That was like, Chainsaw Man is controversial and is topping and is destroying JJK. It's like, yeah, maybe because JJK is slow as fuck right now, and no one knows what the fuck's going on in that manga.
Yeah.
JJK is...
He's got
himself into a corner about 50 chapters ago and just has been trying to dig himself out of it.
I don't know why it's so hard.
Occasionally dig himself out of it.
I don't know why it's so hard. I've told you guys the exact way he can dig himself out of it with all the existing characters he needs. That's all I'm saying. Dear and Enemies finale was underwhelming, which is unfortunate. Dogs Red is based.
Yes.
What a goofy little hockey manga.
That was another thing I forgot. I don't think I did this by the time we did the last podcast. I read all of Kagurabachi in that time. Or of what's out.
Wild.
That manga is really great.
Let's see. Yeah, Kagurabachi, newest chapter. Oh my god! Michael, are you caught up on Kagurabachi?
That's what I do plan to start up soon.
Dude, it's so good. There are also just, one of my favorite things about Kagurabachi is, I'm not gonna remember his name. He's the guy who can teleport. Do you remember his name, Mason?
Senda?
Maybe.
Something like that.
He's rad.
Chiba?
Yeah, Chiba. He's rad because every time he does something, the manga expresses how he does it by someone going, "We have to prepare for this man," and then you see them lying on the ground, and it's the best. He just
so
we never get to see him kick the shit out of people, but it is implied he 1v3s in the most recent arc, and you see none of it, and he's fine. He's not even like super beat up afterwards. It's great. I love it.
And you can see what those three do as well, and you're like, man, these are like capable fighters. No, just dead.
Kyokoto Necromance is very good. I actually really like it. I'm afraid to say that it's at 8 chapters.
Necromance.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm really enjoying that. I think that's reasonably safe because it's like a spirit hunting thing, and I think that will stick given what is currently popular. One Piece chapter. We continue to talk about things we all know. We are trying to get out of Egghead as quick as possible so that we can get to more action.
as quick as possible. We have been trying to get out of Egghead for the past 20 fucking chapters.
Psych House is cute. You should check it out. It hasn't done anything weird yet to make me dislike it.
Yokai Buster Murakami, craziest first chapter of a manga I have literally ever read.
From what you've shown me, I believe you.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that to be where this fucking manga way.
Added to the list of things that may not ever be animated.
Or it will
could,
be, and it'll be the greatest anime of all time.
I think I had already done this, but if I hadn't mentioned it, I finished Zexal. I really like Zexal. I know I talked to Mason about this. I know a lot of people think Zexal is like both the worst anime and the worst manga overall. I like it. I like the manga better than I like the 5D's manga personally. I think its ass pulls are significantly less than 5D's ass pulls. What I've realized, however, is that the ass pulls somehow keep getting worse every manga. I'm reading Arc 5 right now, and holy shit, some of the stuff they pull. So the crazy thing about Arc 5's manga duels is that in Arc 5, in the anime, there are 4 protagonists, technically. And they each use a different deck. That specializes in a different type of summoning mechanic. So the main character is Pendulum, one of them is Synchro, one of them is Exceeds, and one of them is Fusion. In the manga, they all inhabit the Pendulum duelist's body, but switch consciousness mid-duel. So just mid-duel, like, you'll have Yuya, the Pendulum duelist, dueling, and then mid-duel, the Fusion duelist will go, okay, and now I shall fuse the monsters with my separate card engine I run in this hodgepodge of a fucking deck. They run a deck with 4 fucking archetypes in it, and I don't know how he ever wins a single duel.
So, it's Odd Eyes.
Well, yes, because that is because that is Yuya's deck.
Yes,
but also, like, it's Odd Eyes if it ran the Speedroid stuff, and it ran the Predaplant stuff, and it ran the Phantom Knife stuff, which that one's okay because Phantom Knife is like an engine in itself.
They could. The thing is like, can't you just use Zark instead?
Well, that is the end of the anime thing. That is if you didn't know, that is the end of the anime. Small spoiler for massive spoiler for Arc 5 anime incoming. The 4 of them all form together to become Zark. That is the end of the anime twist, is that they are all actually evil and become the ultimate evil god Zark. In the manga, they're chasing down the card that is called God. And the main enemies are time travelers. And it has something to do with Adam and Eve. This manga's crazy. Notoriously, Arc 5 has one of the coolest supporting cast characters, which is the rival character, who I want to say his name is Declan. I might be wrong. I don't remember what his dub name is. I think his dub name might be Declan. His Japanese name, I think, is Reiji. And he is the DDD player.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm currently in the middle of his duel in which he is dueling in space. And let me tell you, I might have to physically show you some of this most recent chapter, Mason. This man might give off the most Seto Kaiba energy of any other, like, rival character I've ever seen. Like,
it's Declan, yes, yeah, I do.
Like,
yeah,
Kite,
I have seen him.
Kite does not give off, like, Kite in, because it would be Chaz, Kite, and, Jack.
And
while all of them have elements of Kaiba in them, oh my god, is Reiji the most Kaiba character I've ever seen. He literally has a conversation with this guy at the start of this duel. He goes, where first he goes, turn 1, set my entire hand, go. And then the other player goes and he goes, I set my pendulum scales and then set my entire hand. And then Reiji goes, okay, now before we continue and I beat you and you disappear and die for some reason probably, you want to tell me what the fuck's going on? Because I am going to beat the shit out of you in this duel. And literally, like, every pose he does is the most Kaiba pose on the planet. He has daddy issues. Most Kaiba man I've ever seen. The only... If you combined him and Kite, you would have Kaiba. Because Kite has the brother issues that Kaiba does with Mokuba. Because Kite has a younger brother he's fighting to protect. And is an asshole about it until he's not. It's good. I like it so far. It's interesting. I'm excited to get to the end of it so that I can weigh in on the manga twist that everybody hates in Arc 5. Which is something that involves some time travel shenanigans. I've explained this to Mason before, and what I'm realizing as I read it is that I don't think it's as horrible of a twist as everyone says it is, because the main female character it involves, as of at least right now, 20-some chapters in the manga, shows absolutely no romantic attraction to the main character whatsoever, so the twist is not something that should make you feel icky inside when it happens. Also, to my understanding, it never officially gets published in a manga, so, like, it's just a bonus little thing they did. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan base is weird. Otherwise, I know this is going to immediately make Mason talk, but I've been playing D&D. That is going well. I will not elaborate too much on that. If you're interested, I stream it literally tomorrow night on my other channel, Deadly D&D. I post that in most of the places I post this. But it'll be a good time. Silly things are happening. I got really mad last session. I don't know if I shared this with you guys, because we are in ruins of an old, like, dwarven temple to a dwarven god of, like, abjuration and, like, protection and all that fun stuff. And our party walks into a room, and 3 animated armors come to life, and in Dwarvish go, "Would you like to fight us in this simulation? Or would you like to surrender?" And our cleric goes, "Fuck that, we're not surrendering," so we do this random piss-easy animated armor challenge fight, and the party blows a bunch of resources on it for no goddamn reason. And then immediately afterwards, we walk into a room, and there is a door with 3 locks on it. Our wizard picks the first 2 locks, because she does that. And then fails to pick the 3rd lock. Our party has a druid who received the ability to cast Knock 3 times. Don't ask why, it's complicated. He's a gambler, that's all you need to know. He's also a bear. It's complicated. He chooses not to do that. We also have a magical item that opens locks, including doors, that we have a certain number of uses of, that we have plenty of uses left with. Instead, immediately after my character goes, "Remember, we're in a place that might have lots of, protective traps and spells, and we should be careful what we get into." Our fighter goes, "I'm gonna break that lock with my sword." Rolls piss on his strength to do it. Immediately gets blasted back with force damage, and then the party decides to do it 2 more times. The druid and the cleric both walk up and hit the lock, and they both take more damage. And I'm sitting there screaming, "Please God, before you kill everybody in this room, open the fucking lock with the magic item." That I get driven insane sometimes, but that is good. I'm in the middle of doing some D&D prep to get something started back up again. Michael knows he'll be playing in that when he has time, if he has time ever. And finally, I guess there's 2 more things. I'm reading a book, a real book. I'm reading a physical book. I'm reading The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, a very well-known fantasy author. This is the first book in his First Law trilogy. It's really good. I really like it so far. I'm like maybe 80, 90, close to 100 pages in. I'm a couple chapters in. It follows 3 different characters. What really sold me on it was the chapter where the kind of noble fencer dude, who's a huge asshat, who I love because of this chapter, meets one of his superior's younger sister, and is like, "Oh, I expect her to be fat, ugly, rude, domineering," and then hears her through the door and goes, "Yep, that sounds about right." Opens it, sees her. She is none of those negative things, but is a little crass and speaks her mind. And then she goes, "You and me, let's go on a walk and have a joust of words." And he goes, "Fuck, shit, fuck, I don't know what to say, fuck, shit." And he just gets bodied by this woman for the entire chapter. It is lovely. I'm really enjoying that. And then finally, I have caught up to Moonlit Fantasy. Season 2. I showed Mason a little bit of that. I adore. We're at the part where the main character gets to pop the fuck off again, and I love when they let him do that. Otherwise, everything else surrounding the season's been really good, and I've really liked it. It's odd. I have 1 more episode, and I know they're gonna wrap the season up, but like, there's gonna be so much stuff that there's so much stuff that's gonna happen now that like whenever they do season 3, it's going to be crazy. I also came to a realization that I have not seen season 2 of Shield Hero.
I haven't seen season 1.
I was talking with a friend about it. Michael, do you know what happened of why I haven't seen? Do you know how I used to always talk about season 2 of Shield Hero. You know what I did that fucked it up? I watched Shield Hero when it aired when it split its first season in 2 and ran it in core.
Yeah.
So what I talk about as season 2 in my brain is actually season 1's second half.
Yeah, second half of season 1.
So I've never actually watched season 2, nor did I watch season 3.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
It's-
sure.
Season 2, from what I understand, is Farming Simulator. And season 3, I don't actually know anything about. But like season 2, from what I understand, is Farming Simulator the season.
Yeah.
Because of what's set up at the end of season 1, it does make sense. It's where they're going with it.
Yes.
He kind of needs to go do that thing in that place.
I just forgot about that and or didn't realize that until I was talking about anime with a friend of mine. But yeah, Moonlit, very good. You guys want to get into this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we get started on this. And by us, I mean, I guess it's me.
Yeah, well, first, Michael, whoa, hold
Shit,
on.
we gotta see power rankings.
We gotta see the power ranking.
Yo.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This power ranking week is top 3, bottom 3, middle 2. What a fun week. I love top 3, bottom 3, middle 2. It does a really shitty job every time it's structured like this of explaining how we actually feel. Because so rarely do all 3 shows in those bottom 3 deserve to be there. Maybe this week it is accurate, though. Maybe not for some people. Nothing too particular. There's a couple of shows. 3 of us have a show bolded in that middle range. Not me. And then otherwise, most of our other bolds are actually lying in the very bottom of it. We have a pretty solid opinion of basically a pretty clear top 4 is how it feels, with a certain exception, which I would love to talk to the man about, but he is not here. John, why do you not like... John, if you're listening in the ether, why do you not like Girls Band Cry? More importantly, why do you like...
Because it's the other music thing, and where he likes Miss Maria Love Song more.
Yeah, but he still has... But you know, he has Jellyfish really low, too, so that's fair.
Yeah, it's crazy to have Jellyfish higher than GBC, in my opinion.
I mean,
but,
yes,
like, you know,
that is more...
Yeah, I agree.
Again, opinions are opinions. I can't knock him for having an opinion.
Also, he doesn't watch it with the good subs, so who knows?
Yeah, that's
Maybe
also
that is tainting it.
Maybe. Again, he didn't have the sick ass subs that happened over that song, where the subs match the visuals of the song. They're sick.
But also, I'm not watching Jellyfish on High Dive, so for all I know, it's an entirely different show over there.
True.
I am instead watching it on a totally legal platform. You should support all of our shows exactly where they are streamed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So fun fact about the episode 7 insert song for GBC. This is the only time I have opened up the episode in my free time to watch just the insert song with the subtitles. I like this song a lot. Okay, anyway, let's get into Girls Band Cry.
Episode 6 and 7.
Yeah. So episode 6, I'm trying to remember. Episode 6 doesn't have a ton. Okay, a lot happens, kind of. But episode 6 focuses a lot on introducing Tomo and Rupa, our final 2 members of the group.
What spoilers? You're telling me there's not more of them in that opening?
I'm gonna shove some more people into the group. But yeah, so Tomo is the keyboard player, Rupa is the bass player. They are in a group. The 2 of them were in a larger group at some point, because we see off of like a picture on their wall. They wanted to go to the Budokan, which is a very big performance hall or whatever. I think in Tokyo probably. I don't know.
I believe this has come up before in My Boy Kong Ming.
Yeah, the Budokan's like a big thing. It's the place you want to go do the music.
It also might have came up in Boji. I'm not sure.
It probably fucking did at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, their original dream was to go there, and through something we haven't learned yet, their group split up. Also, knowing these character ages makes it really weird to see how the fuck do Rupa and Tomo know each other. If I remember correctly, Rupa's 22 or 24. Tomo's 16. Tomo's the youngest member of the group. She's 16. Subaru and Nina are 17. Momoko, if you then follow from where she talks, is 20. Because she says she was the same age as Nina 3 years ago.
Fair. Okay.
And Rupa's noticeably older, and also only goes by Rupa, does not have a last name. Don't worry about that. Also, she lost her family in an accident, apparently. Yeah, Rupa's a crazy character. These two are wonderful. I love them immensely.
They got little guys.
Yeah, they do have little guys.
They have little fellas. They have a gecko. They have a sneck. They got the homies. Episode 4 focuses mainly on introducing the two of them.
Episode 6.
Episode 6, yeah. Yeah, whatever. Episode that one. Yeah, episode 6 focuses mainly on introducing the two of them and kind of getting them connected with Momoko and going, yes, and Nina going, I want to go pro. I want to show Diamond Dust that they ain't shit. And I want to be better than them. Because they stole my favorite song that you made. And Momoko's like, why? Why do you want to do this? I don't want to do this. Why do you want to get revenge for me? And Nina's like, because I feel like it. Essentially. 'Cause Nina's a hot-headed little brat that does a lot of shit that pisses people off very quickly. 'Cause she's a fucking dingus. And we love her for that. And what is it? 7 is a lot about they're like, oh, we gotta go do a performance. Oh, that's the 5 of them.
We meet Nina's sister.
Yeah. Nina's sister. She goes, hey, so yeah, we know you're not doing great in school right now, and goes, oh, you're in a band. That explains why. Just so you know, if you do bad in school, Dad's cutting off your funding. It's like, yes, I know our dad's kind of an asshole, and we learned that her dad's a teacher, which is why she was pushed so hard to do schooling things. And Penny's a really good teacher.
He wrote a book.
Yeah,
all good teachers write books.
But yes, we get more of that, a little bit more of Nina's backstory, and her sister goes, yeah, I can't really, if you kind of stop doing schools, I'm gonna be able, I won't really have any ground to stand on to support you myself. And it's like, damn. But then they're like, okay, we gotta go performance, gotta do some stuff. Got the 5 of them together going ham. They drive down. Momoko doesn't know how to drive manual, because who the fuck doesn't this day and age? That was a good bit where she's like, yeah, I gotta start the car, and the car stalled because manual. But yeah, so they go to their performance, and Momoko, while they're doing like a practice beforehand, Momoko's like, yeah, you guys go have fun going pro. Peace, I'm out, actually. And we get a good ass scene where like the screen splits in half. Nina's voice gets distorted. She goes, what? Why? It's such a good scene. Oh my god, I love that scene so much. Because everyone else just doesn't even speak, because they how do you respond to this?
Well, 2 of them, it's not their business.
Yeah, and
the other one,
Subaru's kind of just like,
she knows Nina will handle this, and or otherwise they can't do anything about it. She can't do anything about it. What are the others?
She goes, this isn't my place to step in. Nina's the one who could somehow get through to her, maybe.
Nina's like, it is my place, however.
Yeah. And then Nina has to talk with, because the reason they're having this performance is that Momoko is invited by an old friend who is a big performer. She's a good singer. She has a little like acoustic piece with them. It's great. Beautiful. And Nina has a talk with this person and goes, have you ever thought about quitting music? And she immediately connects out and goes, okay, what the fuck did Momoko do? Not exactly that. She goes, okay. Yeah, Momoko's probably, she's probably just scared to get back into something like that. Because last time this happened is where she got disconnected from her last group, where she didn't want to go through what going pro is like, because you do have to cut corners, not cut corners,
make concessions.
Yeah. And she didn't want to do that, and they're not going to want to do it again with this group. But I think what's different is that this group is already proven they're also not going to take any concessions. They're going to fight tooth and nail to say exactly the way they are, because these 5 are a bunch of fucking doofuses, and I love them. And then we have what's probably my favorite, it's definitely my favorite performance in this show as like an insert song. The song Nameless Name. We got the most peak of fucking titles for this show. You got Void, Voiceless Fish, What to Raise, and Nameless Name.
I didn't know that was called Voiceless Fish.
Yeah, the one person is called Voiceless Fish.
That's good.
Yeah. And they finally get their band name, which Nina reads off of a person's shirt. Their band name is Togenashi Togeyari.
What does this mean?
It means fucking nothing, I'm pretty sure. I don't think either of these are actual words. Which is the best part. It's just a bunch of sounds. It's beautiful. Based on the way it's on the shirt, it seems like it's like a live, laugh, love kind of thing. Like the way it's written out here, it's like Togenashi Togeyari Toge or something. Which feels like it should be like a live, laugh, love kind of shirt. But I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, the song's really good. The performance is wonderful. The big like interesting visual of it is that Nina the entire time has the like negative emotion sparks coming off of her because she is pissed off at Momika immensely because of what Momika said the day before. Also, Nina at the end hits them with the, "Hey guys, yeah, I've decided I'm dropping out of school," and Momika's pissed at her because of this. Yeah, she's put Momika in a really awkward spot.
The literal translation is spiny ant.
That's a base name. Oh, we also have a bit where they're trying to come up with the band name earlier in the episode, and Rupa doesn't care what the band name is. Tomo, Subaru, and Nina are really bad at coming up with names, and Momika's off doing other things. We get some good bits where none of them can come up with an even vaguely decent name. But yeah. I love this show. I think this show's fucking great. This music's great. I love this group of characters.
I can't handle it. The Wikipedia page has all of their instruments exactly. Like, the brand.
That's, again, people are insane.
Did you know that Momika uses a blue Sector Rhythm Psycho Master electric guitar, a Japanese-made Fender Jazzmaster clone?
I didn't know that. I did know it was blue.
That's why Mason said yes, because he heard blue. He's like, I knew that part.
Yeah, it's a blue guitar. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, episode 6 is good. Episode 7's fucking incredible. I adored this episode. Thanks, bud. My nephew is meowing outside my door.
I was like, I don't think you have a cat.
I do have a cat. He's not that loud.
Okay.
That is my nephew. Episode 7, I think, is fucking incredible. I enjoy basically everything they do. I joked with Mason, but I might be legit. The show, I think, just gets prettier every week we watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I just visually love all the images and how everything looks. It had incredible music this week. I'm pretty sure the stuff with her sister happens in episode 7, not 6. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we get that. Little bits of backstory about the 2 new members, and we get Momika quitting, and then we get the end performance where she drops out. All of that
backstory's also there. Yeah.
Her mom cheats, wild things. Which that seems fucking incredible because everything's in black and white but her. It's really cool. But like I really like the conversation with her sister where she's like, look, I stood by you when the school wanted to, we had the choice of hiding the bullying and, brushing it under the rug, and then you would have gotten a full ride because the school would have appreciated us not fucking making a big deal out of it. And Dad wanted that outcome, but you didn't want that, so the rest of the family supported you there. But because we supported you there, you said you would finish school. If you're not gonna finish school, I don't know what reasonably, from like a logical perspective, I can't help you with that anymore. And that's fair, I think. From like an older sibling and like perhaps her mother point of view. We don't know on her mother's end, but like I get that. Like you would be going very much against your family to back her and support her, and while I argue that is something that somebody should do, not every family, especially not a traditional family like we know they are, is going to do that. I'm glad that I feel like this episode is the push you need for the rest of this show to actually keep moving and to like kind of work through a lot of the major problem, like conflict right now being that Nina and Momika just fight every episode. So I could get feeling like that's like that point has gotten stale by this point, but I feel like they're literally about to move past it. Because the conversation is, I've dropped out of school. I don't mean, like, you are no longer the only person who is going to be writing on this, who needs this to work, who is committing their full time to it. Like, and I think that's what Momoka needs, is another person who's doing that. Because she has no connection to these two new members who might be doing that. And as far as she knows, the other two have other things outside of the band that they also care about that they haven't put aside, right? So Nina being like, no, I'm done with school, is very important for, like, the overall story. So I think this episode's rad. I liked both this week. That's why it breaks in the top 3 this week for me.
Yeah, I thought this episode these 2 episodes were absolutely incredible. I absolutely adore these new 2 characters. They've just in 2 episodes become my favorite characters in this show. It's wild to me that I think the 2 main characters, being Nina and Momoka, are bottom of the barrel for me in terms of where my enjoyment is with them. But the other 3 are so good that it just elevates the show so much. Sean and I did have the bit of the show gets prettier every week, and I fully stand by that. I think episode 7 was absolutely gorgeous. I thought it was wonderful to watch. Yeah, you have both kind of said my thoughts on it. I thought this set of episodes was great. That's why I jumped 3 spots on my power ranking.
Yeah. And while you might say that a show being visually appealing is not everything, I argue that some shows this week look like dog shit. Thus, it is important because it can bring down the enjoyment, and we will talk about it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought that raised my enjoyment for that show.
You know what? It also might have, but that's besides the point. Also, I just think out of our 3 shows that are doing this, I would argue this show by far had the best performance. Like, way out, in my opinion. That's why it's so confusing it's the lowest on John's power ranking. I'd love to hear... I can imagine he's, like, between this and Jellyfish, it's still, like, a toss-up, and he just likes Whisper best, and I understand what's holding him at gunpoint to have that opinion. I won't judge him for it. But yeah, like, I think... wild that the show that didn't have a bomb-ass performance this week is near the bottom of everybody's of the majority of the podcast's power ranking. It's almost like when you're a music show, you should do music, and when you're not a music show, you should do other good things. When you're also half a music show, you should do other good things to be that half a music show. And I think we'll get there. But first, we get to talk about the show that is Mason's show. Oh, I didn't bring up the Cold War image. Yeah. There's that for Girls Band Cry. Next up, while I do this right, I have to adjust. There we go. Mason, let's talk about Windbreaker.
So Windbreaker is, like, just incredible. You should watch this show. What are you doing if you're not watching it? What the hell? So Windbreaker this week, these past 2 weeks, has been just continuation of the team fights. So episode 6, we got Hiragi and Sako, which we got kind of the full backstory on what happened between them, where we find out that Sako was bullied really badly in, like, elementary and middle school. And Hiragi came and beat the shit out of the kids who were bullying him 1v8, and then Sako ended up learning how to fight from Hiragi. And as they, like, got older, before Hiragi was going to go into high school, Sako was like, "I'm going to follow you to the end of the earth. Like, no matter where you go, you're going to be the boss, and I'll follow you no matter what." And Hiragi goes, "Actually, funny thing about that, I'm going to follow this other guy. I'm not going to be the boss. That's what you want, and I can't do that for you, so bye." And Sako got really bitter about it. It's a very sick fight the whole way through. very like, as Sean was saying in previous weeks, it was a very like emotional fight. You could feel just the like. It's like the thing that they said in previous episodes with Uemiya's thing of fighting. The fights are conversations. You can feel the heated conversation. And then episode 7 is it ends with Hiragi ends up winning, and we get a confrontation with Joe Togame, the number 2 for Shishitoren, trying to take the jacket from Sako, and Hiragi basically threatening him, going, "You take that jacket, I beat the shit out of you right now," essentially. We then get episode 7, which is Joe and Sakura's fight, where Joe nearly kills him like within 5 seconds, and catches Sakura really off guard. And as we go, Sakura ends up getting beaten and bloodied through a lot of it before Joe ends up making him angry enough to remember all of the shitty people he's dealt with in his life and goes berserker mode, which is really cool. We then get Joe's backstory of how he joined Shishitoren, and we also see before this that he did not know of the reason why this is taking place in the first place, which is the 2 chucklefucks that have already gotten the shit beat out of them were harassing a middle schooler and bullying people who are weaker than them, and Joe doesn't like that and proceeds to almost beat them to death. We then get the backstory of how he, like the current Shishitoren came to be, where Joe was kicking the shit out of like 8 of them all at once and got recruited by Choji, the current head. They have a really great time. Everything's super fun. They just are really into power and they just want to be free. And then Choji gets really depressed when he hits the top and starts going, okay, well, if I'm the strongest and this isn't fun, I just need to make everyone in the gang the strongest. This is how this makes sense. So everyone just has to be as strong as me in the gang. And some guys come running in that get injured from losing a fight with a rival gang, and he kicks the shit out of one of them. This causes Joe to freak out and goes, okay, you know what, fine. If this is how you want to do it, fine. But I don't want you to have to be the one to do it. I want you to just smile and be happy. I'll do all of this. I will make sure that the rest of the gang knows the rules and how you feel, but make them hate me, not you. And then we get more of the fight, where it's a pretty even fight at this point, but Joe is kind of holding back now a little bit because Sakura has kind of moved him. We have what most likely will be the end of this fight at the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah.
This set of episodes was fucking incredible. Every single bit of animation, the fight choreography is fucking insane. The OST is wonderful. We get a really great insert song for the Hiragi fight.
So I'm gonna chime in right now because you brought it up. I don't like the insert song during the Hiragi fight. To me, it feels like it's really forcing you to take this as like a very, very like emotional moment for this fight. And while that's true for those 2 characters, you as the viewer are just getting this information now. And of all the fights and of all the music pieces, like I was watching this, I'm like, this doesn't feel like it fits. I'm like, I'm not as sold on how the show wants me to view this fight as it is. The action's sick. The backstory's interesting. Like, I get the tension between these characters and their dynamic, and I like it. And that is quite literally the hold up for me for that episode. And like, and so all it simply is this week is I thought episode 7 fucking ruled. I thought episode 6 was really, really good. It just didn't hit that same level. And when we talk about Kaiju number 8, I fucking adore both of these Kaiju number 8 episodes. And so like that is the separate line for me between, if this was individual episode 7s, maybe Windbreaker would be above Kaiju. That is a lot tougher of a call. Both of these episodes, I think Kaiju just barely edges out, because I'll talk about episode 6 of Kaiju when we get there in a little bit. There are some light, complaints too about that I could make. But like overall, like as 2 episodes, I liked Kaiju more than Windbreaker, and I liked Windbreaker just a little more than Girls Band Cry. Like, Girls Band Cry had a really incredible episode 7, but again, it really was the episode 6s that, like, also impacted how the power ranking came out this week for me.
Yeah.
Fair.
But like you said, fucking incredible episode 7, and both the fights looked great the whole way through. One of the large complaints I've seen on the internet regarding this show, especially around this set of episodes, is that people just don't think the fights have tension or stakes. And I get that. Like, yeah, there isn't any. But that's the point. None of these fights are supposed to have tension or stake. There is a fight that's going to have tension and stakes. It's coming.
They straight up told us that they're not going to have stakes. The whole point of these fights is just so that they can fight. The fights, they got tacked on.
They're just all fucking battle junkies. They all want to fight. And there are people who are like, none of these characters are particularly interesting or very in-depth. And yeah, it's a 12-episode show with a decently large cast that's all about fighting. I don't know exactly what you want from this show, but the characters we get stuff from, I think, are really good. So generally, I disagree kind of strongly with most of the general opinion on Windbreaker. I think it's a lot better than people are giving it. Perhaps it's just because none of those people watch Buchikiri. So they don't have reason to be angrily upset and absolutely adore this show. But hey, Michael will know this. I adore this dynamic of my friend wanted to be the best. He got to be the best, and then everything was dull, and he became a monster. So I've decided, instead of abandoning him like some people might do, just to be a monster in his place so that he doesn't murder people, because boy am I afraid of what will happen if I leave. It's almost like this dynamic exists in a Cardfight Vanguard. And they're 2 of my favorite characters.
My god.
Cardfight Vanguard is...
It does everything you could want.
The reason it's so long is that it just does everything.
It does everything. But like, largely I would argue
it sometimes. But like...
its first season is one of the best seasons because it has a very strong core structure of what it's doing, whereas season 2 loses that train of thought, but that's another point.
Yeah, we don't talk about ages.
Yeah, but season 1 is so good because it focuses on character dynamics like this. That's what's really cool about that. And I just enjoy seeing that here too. It's just my brain is plagued by Cardfight Vanguard, so when I see it, I see it.
Yeah, I love these. These episodes are great. Fights are great. For people who say they don't have stakes, the Shishitoran, the Shishitoran people, they have the stakes of if they lose these fights, they get fucking kicked out of the gang. So, like, for them, it's a really big thing.
Yeah.
Also, the single moment of this entire thing that stands out the most to me, outside of, like, the entire fight with Sakura and Joe, is in the Hiraragi fight, right at the start of it, his opponent, I can't remember his name.
Sako.
Yasako does a thing where he lifts his foot and then catches his foot mid-drop.
So sick.
That was a crazy. Where he catches his foot, like slices it down. Oh my god, that scene was crazy.
He
like
catches
that
his foot.
Single scene locks is just like it's the only thing I remember from that fight outside of like the rest of it. But like that scene stands out as like the one.
It's
oh my god.
Cool.
The fights in this are incredible.
Yes.
It's almost like hand-to-hand combat looks sick.
I also enjoy the fact that this show is not afraid to show that fights are brutal, and it will just beat the shit out of its characters. Like, it does not care.
But it shows if Girls Band Cry didn't exist, this would be my number 1. But I mean, not sadly, whatever. Girls Band Cry exists.
So next we've got...
I believe Spice and Wolf, right?
Yeah, Spice and
It would
Wolf.
be the Spice and the Wolf.
The Spice.
Dude,
I can talk
we got
about
the
that.
fucking name drop this episode.
God, yes, the name drop happens in episode
7.
No,
Yeah.
6.
Isn't it? Whatever.
It
I
is
just know
6,
first it
you're
goes
right.
the Spice and Wolf going on a journey together. I fucking lost
Yes.
it. I was like, there's no way.
So
There's no way they actually just said that.
So we could do this will be real quick because it's John's show, so we won't spend too much. Episode 6 wraps up the chase scene in the sewers, where Kraft takes a dagger to the arm. Like a fucking champion, and then doesn't take a dagger to the arm like a champion a few minutes later. He no-sells that dagger and then walks like a little bit, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm nauseous." And Hollow's like, "We've made a terrible mistake, but it's okay. The exit's nearby. I smell fresh air, and it's a well."
I
Guys,
smell sunlight.
What was the plan to get out of here?
Because I smell sunlight.
Every exit out of here is through the ceiling of the sewer. What was the plan out? I don't know what the plan out of here. They didn't show us a real exit ever. I don't know what the plan to get out is. Surely there's some place that has like a climbable wall to get out of the sewer. They can't all just be random stones from the sidewalk you move aside to drop in from.
Right.
But Hollow decides to protect Kraft by turning into the wolf. And she just brutalizes some men. She might kill 2 of them.
Maybe. We never see her actively kill.
She might have killed the priest. We're not sure. I don't think she does, because they make a point that Kraft is not a fan of any time she gets close to killing somebody. They have a moment here that I think is really, really neat. And I don't know if it's just because we're watching it week. I don't know if watching it week by week makes it better, or if it would be even better if we were watching it in bulk. But the conversation with the dude from Hollow's village. What's his name? Oh my god.
Yare.
Yare. The conversation with Yare and Kraft is actually really well done as a like, okay, we fed you all the information you needed to piece together why and how Yare is doing this. Now that we've done that, we're going to have him reveal it to Kraft as an offer for him to take up the side of the deal. Kraft is obviously gonna say no. But, like, I think that is a really neat thing to do that you as a viewer could have pieced together most of it, which I think we largely did. You know, how he was able to do this, like, where his connections lie, tracing back to the facts that he deals with the noble who directly oversees his village, like we talked about. So, like, it is enjoyable. This is also the episode, though, that makes me go, oh, we're in for long arcs with this show. Which, as we know, is maybe not the best for this podcast, but who knows? It might be killer every week from here on out. We don't know. But so Kraft passes out, and as he sees Hollow in wolf form walking away through the sewers, and when he wakes up, the bro from the trading company who backed him is like, okay, she was here. She left just a little bit before. She left like a day ago. We didn't ask her where she was going, and we couldn't particularly stop her, but she left. But when we found you, she was guarding you. And Kraft's like, wait, what? That wasn't... She walked away. She was guarding me? Fuck. And when she walks away, Kraft screams after her about how she owes him for the clothes she tore and all the expenses she has. And she should have to pay that back if she's truly a righteous god who keeps to her word. In his desperate attempt to bring his wife back to him, the poor man. Then Kraft gets all his money. He gets screwed over a little bit by the king and his taxes, and his fucking just deducts payment out of everything physically possible, so that they wind up getting less money overall. So Kraft gets a lower cut. Well, he gets the same cut, but it's a lower amount of what it would have been because they didn't make as much. But then they also got him. They got some kind of payment from the other trading company, so they didn't fucking just get obliterated. I guess is the deal where they were like, okay, yeah, we fucked up. Don't tell anyone about this, please. Here's some money. And Kraft goes, cool, can I get all of this in spice? Please give it to me in spice. I want it in pepper. Because it'll be really good for the winter as I go more north and can sell it well. And the merchant guy goes, this reminds me of a story. And the only reason it reminds him of a story is because there's spice in the story, and it's fucking wild. We'll see if that story has anything to do with anything coming in the future. And then Kraft gets a letter about a bill for things that were bought under his name, and he goes, wait a minute, these are all things that Hollow would buy. And he runs out with no shirt on into the middle of broad daylight in the middle of this trading company. And everyone's happy for him and Hollow but the Spice and the Wolf move on. They are heading to an in-between town where they talk about the next city they're going to eventually get to, which is named after a saint that we learned that Hollow bit the ass of. This conversation's really fun and really enjoyable for like a world build, just a small little world building conversation that just adds to their characters. I really enjoy this conversation. We also get a stinger at the opening of this episode about some wolves that are staying away from a pack of sheep from a shepherd, and we hear some rumors that there is a sorceress around. Kraft makes a huge mistake by describing really good food in that town named after the saint. To the point where Hollow cannot contain her wolf-like features underneath her disguise, and it's adorable. He also now has to buy her all of it. What a fool. They go in to trade their spice, and the guy I thought the guy just had a scale that was rigged. No, his entire room is tilted. The building's slanted. And Hollow,
really funny.
Hollow calls him out on his bullshit, and then Kraft plays a man. Can't believe we showed up here drunk. It would be a shame if we were to sober up and tell everybody about what you tried to do to us. Or a shame if me and my drunken stupor were to beat the shit out of you in your room right now. Perhaps you're going to acquiesce to our demands. And the guy goes, yeah, sure, what the fuck, dude? Go. They then eventually leave this town after Hollow buys a bunch of stuff, drinks, and eats. And they make it clear that Kraft doesn't particularly care when Hollow pays him back, just, as long as she does it before she leaves. He actually doesn't, there is no hard feelings or big holdup about this. But he also gets a little moody with her because she wants to keep buying things that he doesn't think she needs. And she's like, but I am a god. You should acquiesce. I help you make money. He's like, yeah, but you also spend all the money we make. They then, at the end of this episode, meet the shepherd, who Hollow believes is a sorceress, but Kraft is like, nah, that shepherd responded to shepherd hand signals, clearly a regular shepherd. And we get the reveal that, surprise, it's a woman, and Hollow is not happy. And that is largely these two episodes. Because the first, it's very much I completely forgot that this second episode is almost largely them on the road to meet this shepherd. Because it's another just merchant dealings happen, world building backstory, and I think that I legitimately like this set of episodes. I think they're both very good.
And they're a very solid episode. I did enjoy them. In episode 6, we have the Hollow doing the transformation. We get to actually properly see the wolf form.
Yeah.
And the music that's playing in the background during that whole thing was fucking beautiful.
It's
oh my god,
good.
that scene was so good. Hollow's wonderful. I love her so much. Her dub VA does an absolutely astounding job.
Oh, Mason got to watch this episode subbed with me, which was really weird for him because he's been watching it dubbed the entire time.
So I watched the sub for episode 1, and then proceeded to watch dubbed from there on, and I watched episode 1 dubbed as well. So the weird thing is that I think Hollow and Kraft's voice actors in the dub are better, but every other character is better in the sub. That's really fair. Weird.
Which I think the argument there is that they brought back the voice actors from how long ago to retain this, so all the other people might be newer voice actors, potentially, or not as well known or experienced ones. So you might have a legitimate different level of experience and comfort in the show.
Fair.
We're also going to be notably more critical of a language we actually speak.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. That dubs always sound weird because we speak the language. We don't know how actually good the acting's being done in Japanese.
Yeah.
We don't speak the fucking language.
So the main thing for me is that specifically for Hollow, in the dub, she's very the best word I can think of is smarmy, where she's very she has this aura of I'm better than you all the time when she's talking. And the thing that the sub does is that she has this like very high pitch, like,
yes,
oh, I'm just a damsel. Whatever am I to do?
but then
Until she lowers her voice.
But also, it also sometimes comes off as like, but I am a god, you young mortal. Like she has like that cadence to her voice when she talks to Kraft in the sub, where it's like, she does not speak like a normal person in the sub. Like like the way she talks is very much like, at least around Kraft when they banter, is very much like she is hamming it up, and I love it. Kraft's just a guy, which is good. That's all he's gotta be.
Yeah.
And I could have put the show. Again, these should putting shows higher is that I have to put something lower. And there's something.
Yeah.
We'll get to it when we get to Go-Go. That was one of those shows where I was like going to a place and I went, I don't know what it was about these episodes. I couldn't even tell you why I wasn't the biggest fan of them. I just kind of was mad on the show. We'll get to that when we get to the show.
Yeah. I think most of us, everybody else didn't have a problem dropping Go-Go. You didn't drop Go-Go below other stuff, necessarily.
Yeah, I see. Should I have? Maybe.
Maybe. We'll talk about it.
It's one of those shows where, I am still really interested in what it's doing. Because, like, I want to see more of it. But also, like...
That is the odd thing.
We'll get to it. This episode was just really odd for it.
Yeah.
These episodes are just weird.
Well, legitimately, we say that. We've been saying this, and we'll keep saying it probably. Outside of maybe one or two shows that are still on the podcast, and then how you might have felt about Go-Go this week, most of these shows are really good. Like that, and we will talk about the surprise dark horse at the very end, because we talk about Yatagarasu at the very end. All of us are like super in on that show now, it seems.
I told y'all you just needed to let it cook.
I really liked it I've always kind of liked it, but
I really liked it from the beginning. I'm glad that everyone's coming around to it.
It is a show you need time to warm up to. I'm interested. I think how Spice and Wolf will continue to do in the coming weeks will depend on how the build up to this new arc is. If it's quick, if it's quick and interesting, it'll be really enjoyable. If it's slow, but it's like very fantasy, because to me that's kind of what I want out of this next arc, because I want it to lean more into the fantasy element, which it seems like it might. It's just odd because you're moving to an entirely new arc in a show, and that is always a tricky thing to do on this podcast. For what it's worth, it's in a much better spot than most shows are when they do that. With that in mind, it is time to talk about Kaiju number 8. So this week on Kaiju number 8, we pick up in the first major kaiju battle of the show, where we have this large Hanju that is treading through the city, that is like a giant mushroom stalk insectoid creature that is constantly spawning smaller Yoju, right? That's the term? I got that right?
Yeah.
It's Hanju and Yoju?
Yeah. So, yeah, something like that.
And so the group starts to split up and get ready. They're being paired with different senior officers. I need to get names. So Ichikawa and Iharu are paired together under apparently a cougar, as the show reveals to us. Aoi and I don't have his name here. The other military-esque tryhard, the two of them are paired together in a squad, and then Shinomiya and Kafka are in a squad together. And those are kind of our main 6 characters we focus on during this fight. Kafka and Shinomiya are particularly under Hoshina, the second in command, while Mina is off getting ready to be a sniper. So we see a bunch of the gang in episode 6, just getting ready to take out the Yoju, and they are doing particularly well, more so than basically everybody who's already a member of this defense force expected. You know, they make a point that the recruits are very, much higher skill than previous years, but that they're gonna wear themselves out because it's still their first actual encounter. They're not used to stamina. That is where the older members are going to shine, is that they have the stamina to do a long mission like this is going to wind up being. we see that Ichikawa is getting a hang of swapping to different stylized rounds. He winds up using freezing rounds for most of these 2 episodes to let him kind of make up for some of his weaker elements in his actual ability set. And Iharu is like, why the fuck are you so good at this? I'm so mad. And we get a little bit of a narration by Hoshina, where he explains that of all the candidates, obviously Shinomiya is like the best. Like, she has the highest immediate potential and skill set of everybody here. But if there's anybody who can also reach a captain level in his eyes, it's Ichikawa, which is kind of wild. But the episodes really hit home why that is. Meanwhile, Kafka's doing Kafka stuff. He climbs down the building. He tries to fight Ayoju and gets his ass kind of kicked a little and has to get saved by everybody else. And everyone he's traveling with is like, man, you are a liability, my dude. Fucking stay out of this. And then Kafka goes, what the fuck am I doing here? Right, I know what I'm doing here. And he goes and he investigates some of the Yojus, and he finds out that their cores are in a different spot than you would expect, and that they have reproductive organs just like the Hanju does. Which he relays, and Hoshina's like, damn, you're actually useful. Good, now watch what our captain does. And Mina obliterates this Hanju about 7 times over. This scene's really rad. It's really funny because she gets the clearance to fire the first 2 shots, and then they're like, cool, Hanju exterminate, and she goes, I'm firing again. And they go, what? And she goes, I'm firing again.
Shot 3 prepared. Shot 4 prepared.
And she just...
And it's like, oh.
And it makes sense because she's trying to eliminate as much as she can of the Hanju to limit the reproduction. And then at the end of this episode, Ichikawa and Iharu run into a funny guy just chilling around. They run into a kaiju disposal worker who's not supposed to be there, who we know is Mr. Mushroomhead. So episode 7 largely focuses on the confrontation with him inside here, while everybody else is kind of trimming down the Yoju. And Iharu gets fucked up immediately. Because he does not know what Ichikawa does, which is that Shinomiya shared some secrets on how this guy's technique works, and if you have to pay very close attention to his fingers when he fires his shots, and then you might have might have a chance to dodge it. They find out that he is jamming. He's basically set up a domain. He's fucking a veil. He put a veil up so that no one can get any kind of signals from them. And Ichikawa's like, well, fuck, Iharu, you're gonna fucking die. Get out of here and tell someone what's happening. And then Ichikawa starts to get his ass kicked because the guy is not fully trying. And we get a really nice moment of Iharu stopping and going, ever since Mina saved me, I have been trying to get stronger, and the only thing that is setting me back is not that other people are better than me, but that I am not pushing myself far enough. And instead of leaving Ichikawa to die to report, he turns around and saves his ass. Almost getting them both killed, but saves his ass. It's at this point that that Shinomiya has sensed that Kaiju number 9, as we are calling him, is in the area, and so Kafka fucks off to go fight him. And then the second half of this episode is largely Kafka doing that in his Kaiju number 8 form. He shows up, we get a rad-ass scene where he fucking punches him halfway across the screen, and then goes and moves Ichikawa away, and it's like, okay, you're gonna stay there, and you're gonna be safe. And then he gets shot by Kaiju number 9, and he goes, oh, this is what you've been doing to my 2 younger bros? I'm gonna fuck your shit up, and then proceeds to do that. I'm really happy this fight goes beyond him just doing one punch and knocking. I was a little worried. He actually has like a kind of full-on fight here, and he is kicking this dude's ass. Until he winds up popping away, and they wind up breaking out of the veil, and and 2 other members of the defense force are like, whoa, we got kaijus here, and Kafka has to stop to take a bullet for one of them so that they don't get fucking murked, and number 9 runs away. In the meantime, Kafka tries to run away until he encounters the devil from the Bible. And that is that Hoshina has tracked him and has entered neutralization mode and may be about to kick his shit in. A really wonderful cliffhanger to stop on for this episode. I really, really enjoyed the stuff we got from Ichikawa and Haru in these 2 episodes. I really liked the elements of Kafka's character in, like, both in and out of kaiju mode and what he is trying to contribute. I felt like all of our small characters got to kind of do their things, with the exception of Shinomiya, who kind of, like, took a little bit of a backseat, but that's fine. Like, she's just doing her job and keeping everybody safe in the area she's in so Kafka can go off and do her thing. And I really like these 2 episodes. The OST fucking ruled for both of these, as it does.
Yeah. I definitely did enjoy these episodes. It's not that I think anything bad about them. It's just I enjoyed Windbreaker a little bit more, but like,
which is fine.
Yeah. No, part of it too, to be fully honest, was I watched Windbreaker, Spice and Wolf, and Kaiju 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I remember more about Windbreaker and Spice and Wolf is because I watched Windbreaker again a week ago.
Yeah.
And I watched Spice and Wolf last night with you.
Yeah, I watched Windbreaker and then this and then Yada. And I really liked all 3 of them, and they were all pretty present in my mind. Like, I didn't really forget any element of any of them. And this was just the one that I fucking adored these 2 episodes together a little bit more than everything else. Michael, you're in a tricky spot. You've read the manga.
I know. It's just sick.
That panel you posted, that scene is rad in the anime too. Him fucking popping his head off and just spinning in the head, just spinning. He goes, "Wait a minute, that's my body."
So I'm currently rereading through like this section quickly, because I was like, I want to see how that the shot what the fuck, I can't remember her name, whatever, the big shots that she does. I was like, yeah, I want to see how that looked in the manga, because I remember this manga looking really good, and I forgot this mangaka for the first like half of this. It looks like kind of okay. The stuff recently looks sick, but like the shots are not nearly as cool as I expected them to be. Realistically, they still look really good. Like, they're really nice, like big panels. But like, God, it was so fucking cool at the end. Yeah. This show's sick. We are slowly getting to why Hoshino is one of my favorite characters in this entire story. I love him immensely.
He's rad. Like, even beforehand,
fun.
Like, even beforehand, him being like, "Yeah, Mina's the only person who can do that. Kafka, do you think you can do that?" And Kafka goes, "Do you think you can do that?" He goes, "No, but that's not why I'm here."
Yeah, it's not my job.
He goes, "I'm not supposed to fight that giant fucking thing with my little dagger swords. You know what I do fight with my little dagger swords? Obliterates monster from behind without even turning. Those. Yeah. I massacre those in high numbers."
Yeah. And we get the cutoff of this episode is him we get the flash of Unleashed Combat Power 92%.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, Captain Ashino is it's a 96, and that's like, or whatever it is, like, and that's crazy. That's a really big number. We go, yeah, because she's like the guy. She's him, literally him. And we're like, yeah, and Kikuru's at like 43 or something. It was
Ichikawa's like pushing
40s is really high.
Ichikawa's like pushing 15, 20 now.
He's pushing. He's at like 22, I think.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. You get there, it's like, oh yeah, Hoshina's also going to be bonkers.
I also really enjoy the scene, like the 2 of them working together with the different type of bullets to fight number 9, and almost really cool. Almost having a shot, and then when Kafka shows up, they're like, this dude wasn't even fucking trying. We would have gotten obliterated in a second if he cared. Which is fine. That's totally fine to do. Like, because you get to give these characters their moments, and you could still keep the power scaling where it needs to be. These guys aren't supposed to be taking down this thing. It's numbered for a reason.
And even then, it straight up goes, if it didn't do the thing where it pulled like the massive amount of corpses,
Yes.
it was dead. Ichikawa got the shots in place.
Yeah.
When he undid his limiter or whatever the fuck you want to call that he did there.
And then you also have the moment where Iharu goes to grab the gun, and like in the last moment to try to save Ichikawa, and the gun's just fucking busted. The man just can't get a fucking break. World's worst day goes to this guy over here.
L
Also,
after L after L.
Number 9 is so fucking cool. I love him so much. He's such a good villain.
His voice is also really rad.
Yes.
His design's also fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
When he sprouts the 2 eyes, oh my god. He's so good. Yeah, this manga's sick. It's just sad that it's taken us like 18 billion years to get chapters because this is the Jump Plus thing, so they just release whenever the manga feels like it. Which, fair enough, a lot of detail goes into these, and he's making a second manga right now. Because we have the B-sides.
And hey, it doesn't seem like he dislikes writing this manga, unlike the Spy Family author who actively hates what he's doing.
That's a crazy thing.
Unfortunate. Well, Michael, it's time to talk about a jellyfish in the room.
Oh my god, the jellyfish that can't swim in the night. Oh my god. Okay, so episode 6, folk is.
I just gotta leave this up for a bit.
They're like we're trying to make a new song, and Kano's like, I don't know what to do for this song. She couldn't think of like lyrics to make for it. She was kind of just stuck. She's like, I don't know.
We'll get there.
That's it.
We'll get there.
Yeah. They're like, well, we could do a commission for a song. So like have a person commission us, make a song for them, or whatever. I think it's how that would work. That's kind of the idea. That Jelly would make a song per person. So they meet up with this person. You see them and you go, wait a second. I know you. That's right. It's the person from episode 1 who was performing in front of the jellyfish.
Mural.
Mural. Yeah, that's the word. And it's like, oh shit, it's her. Oh no, this episode's gonna be bad. I don't like that person. The person's kind of an ass. And then we spend this whole episode going, oh wait, no. She's actually just a single mom trying her absolute hardest to be an idol. Because she just wants to be an idol. And it's such a touching episode. It's so good. Her and her daughter Ariel are wonderful. I loved them so much. Episode 6 was amazing. I loved episode 6. And then episode 7 happened.
Can we talk about 6? I actually do want to talk about this in 2 parts because episode 7 it has its entirely own separate set of problems we have to talk about. I agree with you. Largely going into this episode, I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate this because I don't like this character. And when they run through most of like the blackmail stuff and the fact that she's lying about her age a lot and like lying about everything a lot, it's like, whew, not having a great time here. And then they introduce her daughter, and I hate it because it makes her a good character. So the show succeeds there. There are still two drawbacks to this episode I have. One, God damn it, Kim. Stop talking to people and being a bad influence. The girl now is her #1 fucking otaku. I can't handle this.
Kiwi, yeah. You're OT.
That bit, legitimately, like, kills, like, just for me, just because I think it's so... there are so many other ways that I feel like would just be better to just let the girl appreciate her mother in a way she already does, that Kim could, like, still have expressed to her, given her own dynamic of, like, absolutely being head over heels for Kano, like, as an artist. And then also... is Jellyfish not supposed to be anonymous?
Jelly is supposed to be faceless, but we don't worry about it.
We just throw that whole out.
No, they're not Jelly. They're a Jelly cover band.
But they are outright meeting somebody face to face who was a fan who reached out to them under no pretense. Which, like, I get it. She already does know them, right? So there's no point in hiding it. The show doesn't really ever... The show doesn't let that realization hit in that way. They go, we're going to meet you. Meets her in person. Oh, fuck, we know who you are. Why did you even do this meeting in person? You should never have wanted to do this meeting in person to discuss this. Especially when one of you is is also a VTuber who has, like,
except for the part where we get in episode 7, where
Yes.
she just fucking outright tells that to people now.
But you know what? Like I can
Kiwi's silly.
chalk that up to like deciding that this person will probably never have a major impact on your particular career and that you can trust them not to out you. Like that I can be a little more lenient of than we're going to meet the like it feels like the group purposely is like we're going to make you an anonymous like Vocaloid figure because because that seems to be the thing we all want to do, and then throws it out the window without a second thought in this episode. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't like think like they did me. I was like, it's kind of weird. They're just kind of doing that. I didn't like think. They also go on stage and go, "We're Jelly." I was like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Also, I love Yoru sitting there with the triangle. That's adorable. That was a good scene.
I generally like most of the rest of this episode though. The stuff with Baba and her daughter are adorable.
Yeah, they are wonderful.
I think it's a good theme. I think it's a good story. I don't know how I feel about the fact that her daughter was just vibing with some guys who are into her pretending to be a 17-year-old. At the end, that's a little awkward. Maybe I don't like that. Thanks, idol culture. You're right.
Yeah.
Because like her daughter busts through the door, and there's just 3 guys who at first I'm like, oh, maybe they're with the venue. No, they're just fans who are just vibing with her daughter. Totally a safe thing to do.
Yeah.
But largely, I think this is the better of the 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because this episode has a focus, which is very important. The focus of this episode is that they have writer's block, so they want to take a commission so that they can figure out what kind of song to write and have like some kind of way to go for the lyrics that'll work. I can get behind that.
We never get them actually like, making the song for her.
I'm not even that upset about that, in all honesty, because like I like what we get at the end of the episode, and I think that's fine. But perhaps you could have like gone into that in this next episode. Instead, everybody has a crisis. Go ahead, Michael. Talk about episode 7.
Yeah, episode 7. They're talking about like, what are we gonna do when we get out of high school? And they go, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go to university. I'm gonna go to university. I'm gonna go to university.
And they go, what? You're going to university?
Yeah, Kiwi's like, yeah, I want to go to this school for this. I gotta take this thing. Because Kiwi has her life figured out. Kiwi's based. Kiwi's wonderful.
Yeah, arguably has her life the most figured out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yoru and May are just like, yeah, we're gonna go to university. May goes, well, May says, I go to a high school that's connected to a university. It's kind of just a thing that's gonna happen. We also get Yoru. She's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to university, not sure for what. And then we see later in the episode her like career plan thing is art school, and another art school.
Yeah.
If
it's not too late, this art school.
Yeah. And like the rest of the episode is Kano, and most of this episode is Kano going, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in my life. Kano's just kind of vibing. She's existing. And
Kiwi's like, I have to go get my license for a motorbike.
Yeah, this whole Kiwi's like, I'm gonna commute to school on a motorbike, so I'm going to get a motorbike license. And Kano goes, bet, I'm gonna go with you. She goes, okay, interesting choice, but sure, you could go. And then a lot of this episode is the 2 of them at motorbike camp, where they meet this character in the screenshot, who's another one of the motorbike people. Who introduces herself by walking up to Kiwi while Kiwi. So a big thing of this is Kiwi going crazy. She's goated. She's good at driving the motorbike. She's paying attention in class. They got like 4-hour classes. Terrible. I would not be able to sit through one of those without falling asleep. It's also probably the ADHD doing that, but and that and like a big portion of this is that there is a balance beam thing you have to do. You're able to ride the bike like probably it's like 30 feet, 20 feet something on a thin strip without falling off of in a straight line doing that. And the big like message that comes from this is that the key to this is to look forward. Don't be looking down. Look forward to where you're going, not where you are right now. Which is like, a good message. I did think that was kind of good when they got that quote. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's a good little thing. the character who says this is the third character who introduces herself by walking up to Kiwi and goes, "Want to smoke?" And Kiwi goes, "I don't smoke." Goes, "Want to drink?" "I don't drink." Because Kiwi's 17. And then she like immediately looks at Kiwi and goes, "Yeah, what's your cup size?" And it's like, huh, what? It's such, what? This never gets explored past this, like, why this is an important thing to this person.
Let me.
We then have another portion of this episode where we have the three of them in like what's it called, in a spot, like a bath together, where they're like, "So Kiwi, what's your cup size?" And it's like the person goes, "Oh, it's mine are F," because they have like a bazillion cosmetic surgeries. That's like this person's thing. They've had like a nose job. They had whatever. Mm-hmm. They got implants. They got lots of cosmetic things. And you know what? It works. The person looks really good. It's a very that's the point. That's
there's a reason for it too that we get in the bath scene.
Oh yeah, she's like a giant scar on her back from something.
Presumably was in like a burn accident. Is kind of the implication that I took from that. However, we don't do anything with that head.
Maybe it was a car accident. Maybe that's why she wants to get a motorbike. She doesn't like cars. Who knows? Even though that's still, motorbikes are infinitely less safe, I would argue. But whatever.
But before they get in the bath, we have the scene where she goes, "Here are my titties. Do you want to touch?"
Yeah, and then they do.
And then she follows it up with the line. Go ahead, Mason. Do you remember the line she follows it up with?
No, I don't think so.
I sure hope this isn't illegal.
Oh, yeah.
We have a full mosaic sensor of this.
Yeah, it's a full mosaic sensor, full frontal shot.
Full frontal just blurs the titties a bit, and that's it. That was...
And look...
I've been telling y'all the show.
And look, there is nothing inherently wrong with any of this. It's just that there is no... Well, yes, on a technical level... illegal, so yes, but like realistically, is there a chance that like a scenario like this could happen and it is harmless? Yes. Does this person as a character not have enough time with this group to be justified as it maybe not being that? Not enough time at all. But like, what I meant by that is you could have a scene like this with the right build up, and it would be relatively harmless of a thing to have in a show. The problem is, there is no reason to have any of that. Nothing happens or comes out of this. When they wind up going,
feels like it's a pure shock value thing.
Yeah. When they wind up
also,
going
so we
home,
could know that Kiwi apparently has G cups or something. Apparently,
yeah,
because they're bigger than this person's. That person's an F cup, so
they wind up going home, and Kiwi's like, "Here's my contact, so we can game together." Because I'm not gonna meet you in person, because I'm an introvert. And it's like, cool.
Also, I'm Nox, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
The VTuber.
And they're like, neat.
The
I think this is going to be important going forward, but like...
Maybe not.
The fuck?
The wildest part is that when she's not being weirdly horny, I really enjoy this character, too.
Yeah.
That's the wild part.
They're a neat and cool concept of a
character.
It's just
it
almost feels like too much happens in this episode because there's still more, and it just feels like everything gets jumbled for no good reason.
But yeah, I don't remember if anything else happens with Yoru outside of her. Well, yeah, Yoru's like doing Yoru things. She's like with some friends. They're going out, gonna go do stuff. But Kano gets her license. She takes the advice of looking forward, which is it's like a big thing with like just running bikes and things like that. Is he looking forward? You don't need to be staring down at the ground. The ground's not moving. You are. And it's like, and she gets over the balance beam, and everyone cheers. It's a grateful. It was a fun moment watching all the instructors like crying over. It's like, yeah, we did it. We finally got her through this.
And then,
and she gets a motorbike. She rents a motorbike. They go, yeah,
she
bring it back.
Fails the written portion of her exam.
Yeah, she fucking fails the written portion.
And then she still gets the license.
Yeah, in seemingly the same amount of time that Kiwi does.
And the wild part to me is that this happens, and then we don't see Kiwi get the license either.
Yeah, we don't see her ride a bike at all.
Yeah, we only see Kano do it. It's so weird.
But then
Okay.
Is
Kano,
it episode 6 or 7 where we have Kano and Yoru talk about the kiss? Is that episode 6? Where they have like
That's
the
6.
30-second talk about that?
They mention it briefly in 6, I think. Like, I think
Okay.
there was a point where they're
Yeah.
talking, because I think they're talking about Baba on the phone, and something comes up. Because they talk about family dynamics. Sorry, you just reminded me. They have this phone call,
Yes.
and Kano goes, "What's the relationship with your mother, Yoru?" And she describes her mother in a way no human has ever described their mother physically ever. My mom's a mom. She does mom things. She takes care of us. We talk sometimes. It's pretty good. No one talks about their mother like they're not a human being. Everyone has some dynamic with their mother that they would share with a semi-close friend. It's a wild conversation. And then
No one talks about their
Don't
mom.
ask me about it. I don't want.
No one talks about their mom like an ex-coworker.
And then to deflect from the fact that she asks Kano, well, "What's the relationship with your mom?" And the answer is awkward because it was a business relationship more than a mother-daughter. She then goes, "Okay, this is awkward now. So about that kiss though, huh?"
But yeah, so back to episode 7. After she fails her written thing, she somehow gets her license, so she rents a bike. She goes, "What am I gonna do with this? I don't know, I'm gonna go ride though. I'm gonna go.
Where am I gonna ride to
Yeehaw."
though? I don't know where I want to
And
go.
she's riding around, and she sees Yoru and goes, "Yoru, hop on." And Yoru goes, "Bet." And they go on a little drive around wherever town they're in.
They go to a
Don't
beach.
think it's Tokyo. I don't know.
They go to
I
a beach.
forgot.
And they're going around, and it's like, oh wow,
There's
look,
so
the two of
much.
them, they're doing their thing, they're vibing, and then they get off or whatever. Or I think then like the ED happens. Then we have like a post ED stinger where Kano's getting a ticket because she's not allowed to have a passenger.
You forget the part where they're
first-
on the
Michael
beach,
here.
Michael.
And they see a jellyfish from 90 feet away.
They're nowhere near the shoreline, and Yoru goes, "Yo, wait a minute, is that a fucking jellyfish over there?" And Mason and I go, "What the? How? They're translucent. You can't. The sun's not even fully set yet."
You're looking into the sun when the tide's coming in, and the jellyfish is under the water 6 feet out when you're not at the shore, and it's translucent.
And they have
You're not seeing that shit.
They have the conversation that is nice, where Yoru's like, "I do art because you told me you love my art, so I can do my art for you. Well, I love your singing, so you should sing for me." And it's very gay and very nice.
Yeah, these two are gay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very gay.
Yeah, and then we get the postcard of singer, like you said, where Kano gets a ticket because she can't have another person on her bike because she just got her fucking
Yeah,
license.
for,
You're an
for like the
idiot.
first year or something, you can't have a second
Yeah.
passenger or something. That was a very funny thing. It's like, oh wow, they have this nice little thing, and hey, you got a ticket. Kano's a dumbass.
This episode feels so all over the place and so not focused in relation largely, like, to what this show's about from 80% of it, that I'm just like, it's not even that, like, most of it's bad. It's just that none of it, like, does anything. And the fact that none of it does anything just makes the glaring, like, awkward or non-fitting scenes just even more so. And there's no music in the second one of these episodes. There's barely any in the first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've had this show in last for the past, like, 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I was holding out for a hero.
There is not a hero coming in from the morning light.
Yeah.
What a time
Yeah.
this was, though. I will give it that. Man, I'm so glad we get to talk about these 3 shows in a row, because they are the 3 shows that we certainly do have to talk about. Let's get on. I think anything else we want to say before we go on the go-go?
No, I don't think so.
All I'm saying, I don't think these jellyfish are making it through the night.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think so. They certainly cannot swim in the night.
We also
Yeah.
might get like some nothing conversations between Yoru and Kim. Or they're just like...
Well, Kim doesn't exist as a character. I'm convinced she's actually just a figment of their imagination.
Yeah.
Well, we get a thing where she's like...
She played him sick beats.
We have a moment where she's like, I got beat once in a competition. It made me feel emotion for the first time in my life. It's like, whoa, calm down there. We know we know that's a lie. You're horny.
No, that was the second time when she saw Kato perform.
Let's talk about
So Go-Go Loser Ranger had a time this week. So it's practical exam time. And what this means is that our 10 recruits here are split up into pairs of 2. And they're each of them that are going for a specific Ranger Corps. Because we have the 5 of them: the green that's all about stealth, the yellow that's all about tech, the blue that's all about being social, I guess.
They're like the tactician. They're like the overseer. They're the tactician.
Yeah, they're the tech.
They do this thing.
Yeah, and also management.
Yeah, they're the thinkers.
Yeah.
Yep. Why am I blanking on the other red? Well, there's red. I was gonna finish. Oh, pink. Yeah, pink.
Which is
the support.
Yeah,
there's support. There's support. And red, which is...
and by support, they just punch people, too. They like.
Who knows what they do? We
so
haven't really seen anything of any of the Pink Rangers. Largely, like every other Ranger in these 2 episodes, like does their thing, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and then red is just offense, just pure offense. That's all. They just hit shit.
Boys.
So we start this exam with. There's some stuff that happens before with D talking to. We get the monster girl's name. Her name is X's, spelled XX.
Yeah.
Okay. Based.
Yo, that's me for real.
And basically how this exam goes is that there's 3 days of mock battles where it's 30 minutes each, and these are the longest 30 minutes of everyone's lives each time.
Especially day 2, oh my god.
It's so long. It's just, hey, all of the senior first ranks, except for the Red Corps, which is Togita, the guy that we thought D had killed. No, he's actually alive. He just has a bandaged face now. That's it.
Reminder: the reason Red's isn't here is because they killed him.
Because Red just straight up murdered him in cold blood in front of everyone. But all of the other ones are the senior first ranks of their corps. But we get a fight with our boy D playing as Hibiki. And then we also get this guy named Shion, who is just your bog standard I am angry character. He just charges it. He's not going to take any help from anyone because he thinks he can do it, and he's going to win that Ranger Corps spot no matter what. I'm going to do it. I don't need anyone's help, even though they specifically told us we need to do teamwork. Okay.
No, I get it, though.
I mean, I get it, but also the Corps is telling you need teamwork to do this.
To be fair, also, he kind of doesn't give a shit about the Corps. So I give him a little less flack.
I mean, fair.
He's in this for him.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's hot shit, and he's not.
Yeah.
He kind of is. Not enough, though.
So, for the first little bit of this, we basically just get a fight between Togita and these 2. We also do get a scene at the very beginning where Suzukiri shows up, gets hit by a van, and is perfectly fine, and then she fucks off.
Yeah, she fucks off and beat the shit out of her gang for a while, which is what most of the other Rangers do.
Yeah.
Until Green shows their faces.
Yeah. But it ends up just being a fight with Togita, Hibiki, and Shion. And it's just brutal the whole way through, where it's just like, yeah, they're doing sword and gun stuff, but once they get close combat, they are just beating the shit out of one another for a while. D is making some questionable calls about, like, All right, I got to get away. I'm gonna hide. Nope, can't do that. Okay, we're gonna shoot some fire extinguishers and cause panic. And they do end up like getting the upper hand. They figure out how to work together for a bit, and they end up working together as well with some of the like other people that have gotten the crap beat out of them from the other corps.
It's specifically the Green Corps in this first episode.
Yeah, it's the Green Corps, and then there's one other that's there as well, isn't there?
Not yet, because it's just the four of them.
Yep. Okay, you're right. And
hey,
at the very...
Do you know how... I want to talk about this. We get a part of this episode where Dee goes, do you guys know how to draw? And everybody looks at him, and they all know what he's talking about, apparently. Because they go, no, kind of. Well, no, sorry, they go, no, I haven't really mastered it yet, kind of. And I'm like, draw them out? Like, be bait? What are you asking for? No, he wants them to draw a physical picture of the 2 first-class Rangers so that he can put this plan in motion.
Yeah.
Which is to throw another fire extinguisher that lasts for 30 minutes.
Yeah. I neglected to mention as well, the green first rank shows up and she is a treat. I do really enjoy her.
She's
honestly.
cool as
She's
fuck.
great.
She's got fucking small little lightsaber daggers she hides in her throat.
Yep. She's also... Everyone in this Ranger Corps, in this set of Ranger Corps, is just fucking insane, apparently, because they have no problems just attempting to kill one another as well. And they're in the Corps. At the very end of this, they basically have a fight where it's just them just duking it out. And right at the end, the bell is called to end the first day, right as Tokito and Fighter D almost kill one another. Then we get a scene afterwards of we see that X's is just in this like complex that they're in, just running around, hanging out. D goes and gets her, takes her away. Seems she was tapping some Morse code on some pipes and some water faucets. Spooky. Then we have a conversation with D and Shion where they discuss what's going on. Shion basically says that he's in this because his older brother died to one of the boss monsters 4 years ago, which doesn't track because they were supposed to die like over a decade ago.
Yeah, like 13 years or something.
Yep. Then the next, I think it's the next episode, the like manager guy of these 10 goes into Hibiki's room and tries to replace the door, finds X's. There's a little scuffle, and then he goes, no, I'll help you escape. I don't want to fight. Why do you think I'm in the Blue Corps? I don't want to fight. I'm bad at it. I'm good at this. I'll let you leave. And then the boss monster shows up and kills him. Very brutally. It's interesting that the only one that we've seen is the only one that we know that is alive, but it's fine. Fair enough. I want to see more of the other ones, but it's neat. This cutting over to D's perspective, the second day starts where he thinks he's gonna like really get along with Shion. They're gonna do it, and he ends up seeing the like the first class of the blue squad, has a conversation with her where basically she's like, dude, you're missing the point. I don't think your guy's gonna come and help you out. I don't think that's gonna happen. He's like, no, I believe in him. It's gonna work. Meanwhile, the other blue, our little short like sidekick dude from the Blue Corps crawls up the stairs and passes out because he's gotten the shit beat out of him and his buddy is nowhere to be seen. D ends up hopping down the stairs and finds that Shion has allied with 4 other people, almost to form the Rangers. Wild. Turns out that's what the exam is about all along. He teams up with people. They fight I just said her name before.
Yellow.
Yellow.
The Yellow's first class.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name off the top of my head.
Suzukiri. That's her name. They fight her for a bit, and then D ends up saying, I'm joining the Ranger Corps because anyone can be a hero, even people that probably shouldn't be. And she just gives her key over. And then the other group just waltzes up, pulls the key out of a guy's hands, and just says, nah, we're better than you.
And that ends the second day of exams.
Yeah.
They got one more day to fight over the keys.
And that's it.
So I want to talk about some things. Because there's a couple of small things you didn't mention that to me are very important in these episodes.
I was trying to go as quickly as possible through
There's
it. That's why.
There's a lot, because a lot happens. So D actively uses his powers in this infinite fire extinguisher domain, to pretend to be the other two, to sow confusion, and to cause them to fight each other, to give them as many openings as they can. And it's neat. It's a cool idea. In episode 7, he reveals to the short blue stack who got his ass kicked that he is, not intentionally, but the guy punches him and breaks his mask and shows that he is a fighter, and the guy just goes, okay, and is on board. And then when she hands the key over and it's like, you know what, I'll bet on you fucking dumb failures becoming Rangers, that could be interesting. Which is not, I'm not against this idea. They're like, what do you want to do when you become a Ranger? And D opens his mouth and goes, world domination. And everyone goes, haha, what a funny thing to say of you, except for the guy who knows what he is, and he goes, uh-huh. And while this is all neat and interesting, what the fuck is this show doing? Like, I think this exam as a concept is really neat. The ideas of one key, having to form the squads. Like, if this was the focus of these 2 episodes, and like, it's so out of the blue that Shion decides that he is just gonna team with the other group, because they almost come to a consensus. Like, they know only one of them can get the key, but it still feels like they are, like, we have no reason to believe they aren't just gonna go work together still.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's conflicting. I feel like the show is like, you have to learn about Shion's motivations and about there being one key, but to do that, D has to talk to him, and they have to kind of reach common ground, but then we're also building this 2 split team faction, so he has to completely go behind his back, and they don't really give the implication when D walks away that he turns to the remaining other invested good trainee Rangers, and they're like, well, if he's not going to listen to me, I want to talk with you. They don't give you that kind of scene. So that is obviously when it happens, but...
Well, the issue as well is the whole thing of him the entire first day going, I'm not going to work with anyone at all, but especially not you.
And the argument could be that he might talk with, like, the Yellow Ranger, and they might come up with a plan. Or the Blue Ranger, and come up with a plan where they're like, hey, we know all this information. We know there's only one key. We're supposed to work as one team of 5, not 5 teams of 2. So we need you because your other guy, we aren't on board with your other. Like, it's just, you don't get any of that. So it all happens off screen, which is fine, but there's, like, conflicting... In my brain, there's conflicting stuff happening that doesn't make it... Like, it just comes really out of the blue. And then the other group just bends over so quick to, like, side with D and, like, decide to be this group of misfits, which I think is an interesting concept. But, like, we don't know enough about most of these characters. One of them was best friends with the other dude until he clearly got betrayed for this other plan. That's enough to make him willingly side with a monster and strap in with these people who are less talented. The girl with heterochromia is neat and cool. Like Michael said, she has the cooler design. Of course, she's going to walk out of here. But, like, we don't know anything about her. Besides the other guy's better because he's been here longer. That almost sounds like he's actually worse because he's the old geezer who can't get out of the training program. Yeah. He should know more of this stuff, you would think. But I guess maybe that's not exactly the type of character he is. He's just old when he signed up. He's the Kafka, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's like... the yellow guy's just the bottom. That's the implication.
That's actually how they describe him. Is that the other person says she's the top of the.
Like it's
crazy.
There's an interesting concept there of like, oh, you think you can stand in the group and hide at the back and that'll keep you safe. No, that's not how the battlefield works. That could be interesting, but you don't get enough with any of these characters. And where I'm going with this is you could maybe spend some more time with these characters if you didn't fucking bring this boss back for this random plot point that also derails what D had going with X.
Yeah.
Where he was like, you stay there. When we get out, we'll talk about bringing this down together. It's fine to have her do like a little C2 wandering around the parade and maybe almost costing him, but no one in this whole room is apparently smart enough to figure out he's not Hibiki, despite the fact that he is the worst Hibiki known to man. He has some moments where he gets Hibiki stuff down, but he's so not Hibiki for 80% of it. And Shion kind of calls him out, where he's like, which are you? Are you the guy who's here for justice and doesn't want to fight? Or are you the guy who I watched almost kill another ranger to get the key? Which one are you? And they don't really go anywhere with that.
Yeah.
Like, I do like the small, when we get the group of the 5 together, I think it was a cool reveal that it's like, oh shit, the other 5 are working together. And we get a little like teaser for that when they're talking to the Blue Ranger, she goes, their teamwork just overwhelmed me.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's weird, that didn't work the day before. Why did it work today? Because you could argue, oh, they're the Blue, they came up with a plan, because that's like Blue's thing. And then you see Afro Boy fall, and you're like, wait a second. And that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I also did like the Shion. I like the idea of the Shion backstory introducing the idea of the boss monster still being alive.
Yeah, that was good.
He goes, it hears 4 years. He goes, what do you mean 4 years ago? They were all defeated 13 years ago.
That's really cool. To then drop a boss into this facility in the middle of all this is a wild decision. And I know John, John messaged me, and I know his personal stance is, he messaged me and he said, he is largely against Gogo flipping the script and having this god baddie be alive and invading everything when the whole premise was they're gone. Right? It is supposed to be the he didn't say this part, but I imagine this is where he would go, is that it's supposed to be these minions fighting back now with no hope. And I'm fine with there being one of these bosses alive still. It's just...
It's wild to put him here.
And now. While this is all... And we know that the senior Blue Ranger knows this is going on and just trailing him. And, like, there's other stuff. It just feels like there's too much happening right now in something that feels like a really good concept to have to run with this exam thing. I don't know how I feel about it all and how it's going to shape out. Which is why I have Gogo so low. Is I like a lot of the ideas, the execution just doesn't quite work for me. And I just think some of the dialogue and some of the way the scenes are cut just feels really odd in these 2 episodes.
I'm going to be real. For me, my whole thing is I'm still interested in this show, but also I think every other show I have above this was generally better, barring one that is a hefty maybe. And also, if this gets voted out, I can just watch the rest of it and just do that instead.
Yeah, right now kind of my thing is I feel like I also just I don't know, we put her back in the room so that the maintenance guy could catch her anyway, so that he could get obliterated. And his whole thing is that he's the same kind of person Hibiki is, except he acts in a really weird way right away to make you think he's not. It's like they purposely write you in so that they can swerve you again. And it's I don't know how I feel. Just why bother? He could have just been calm with her the whole time. She also could have just been the one to kill him. I don't know. There's a lot.
I do understand him pulling the weapon because it's I don't know if I'm gonna live. And then as soon as he scares her a bit, it's okay, we can get around this. I'm fine with that. I don't think there's much of an issue with that, but I understand it. But it's still like weird. I still see your point.
This is again, it's a lot to have to take in with these 2 episodes. And I just like, in my mind, there are other things that I certainly do enjoy more, and this has kind of lost its appeal in the way it's handling its execution for me. I'm definitely more engaged in a lot of other stuff. Michael, do you have anything else you want to say?
I went out of these 2 episodes kind of in like the... I don't know why I kind of mentioned this earlier in the Vega,
Yeah.
like I got us going. I don't know why I was kind of just whatever with those episodes. Like I was just kind of uninterested with. Like there was some really cool stuff about it. Like again the Shion thing with the 4-year 13. That was that was cool. But I kind of was like, it might just be because some of the other shows are just that good. Like Windbreaker, Kaiju, and Girls Band Kai are just that high for me right now, and I'm just like, these are so good. That's kind of the like things are happening. We get some cool stuff, but also like this is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. We have a lot of these characters that we just met. It feels like we're supposed to know more about.
Yeah. Like it feels like we missed. It feels like we missed the part where he like debriefs us on more of like going more in depth on these characters, and it's just not there.
I guess you could argue the bit is we did miss it. He broke the computer. We missed that part where he gets to learn about these characters.
True.
But also, I like knowing about my characters when they're going through important emotional moments.
Yeah, but they also had time. Like,
yeah,
they had a little bit of time that instead they spend to show us one interaction that opens episode 6 where it's like, oh, they do this trial, and he gets into the mindset that he's supposed to, where he's like, what would he do in this moment? He would say, save the civilians, and then they destroy all the monsters, except the one they don't destroy who's actually on the human anyway. So they still fuck it up, and they don't mention that at all. It's just a point they have there that's weird and off.
Yeah.
That is meant to set up tension with Shion, but then why even show that there's a monster on the child? To show that he was right? But then you're not going to talk. There's a lot of odd, weird stuff with this show. Meanwhile, in the other corner, fighting for its life and its budget, is Whisper Me a Love Song. So episode 6 of Whisper Me a Love Song is the lead up to the concert performance. Where we're going to get the big moment where we're going to find out if they can really love each other. I need to get their... I need to make sure I have their names actively ready, because they're going to keep slipping my mind the entire time. So Hime, right? Himari. They call her Hime a lot.
They go Hima.
Hima, yeah. So Himari is like, okay, we're gonna go shopping. I'm gonna go take you shopping. And she goes to wake up, and her mother, and she is struggling to pick clothes, and her mom goes, a date, huh? And that goes nowhere, and it's okay. It's whatever. There's no opening this episode. I wonder why. Maybe they're gonna play it later. And so Himari goes on a date with Yuri. They go shopping. They try on some clothes. It's cute. She picks an outfit for Yuri that is immediately going to be too short for someone with her long legs. And Himari goes, yeah, this was a mistake, but I like it. And then Yuri dresses Himari up, and she goes, you're adorable and everything. This was a great idea. And then they don't buy anything, I think, is where that winds up going anyway. And the only thing they wind up buying is this really neat, cool blue triangle earrings for Yuri. Where Himari's like, I'm getting you this because you bought the straps, and now we get, which is such a funny line out of context. The phone straps. And Himari's like, and I want to buy you a gift now, so I'm gonna buy you these earrings. Which Yuri looks fucking hot as fucking. Those earrings go hard. They wear the weirdest band attire to this performance, though. I'm trying to think of other things that happened in this episode. Fucking Aki is like, congrats on getting your girlfriend, good job. Take care of her. They practice, and they're at first they're like, wow, we're surprised you're taking this so seriously, Yuri. We thought you would kind of stop doing this because you have your girlfriend now. She's like, no, I like playing in the band. They perform. It's fine. The new song they perform is actually really good. I really like the second... they play the opening again. They cut out of the opening. Then they actually play
Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah. Then they play the Mason and I were having a hard time with this episode because they stopped doing their box cuts for the first like
3/4 of it.
Yeah, which I think largely in my mind the reason they do it is most of those like box cuts are meant to be like showing characters' inner thoughts or like expressing how they feel. And they largely do that openly to each other in the first chunk of the episode. So there's no reason to do it. And then they start doing it again during the music performance, so that goes out the window. I don't know what to tell you. They lost the budget dimension in there. There are some funny faces in these episodes.
Hyper Slide.
They also reuse the same playing animation for their performances. Like, they loop it. It's kind of bad. Also, don't look at the hands.
So if the hands...
They're just doing...
Don't watch the drums... Even though they make you watch the drums.
Yeah, but the first performance is just the OP again. Haha, they did it again. They cut it. Then they played the new song. The new song's actually pretty good. I really like it. It's nice. And then Himari and Yori go outside on the balcony and they talk. And lo and behold, they love each other. They're gonna be a couple. Yay, they're a couple. Next episode, they are a couple. And now we can talk about the other band. They have arrived. There was some implication that I am confused about where I thought this concert performance that they were doing where she was going to confess or make the decision was going to be the school concert, but it's not. It's another random concert they do, I guess. I don't think that was clearly made apparent in my mind because I really thought this was all happening at the school concert, which is why it did feel weird they weren't introducing the other band because that felt like it was all going to happen at once. But no, it's a separate concert. So now they're getting ready for the school concert and they learned that they have to audition because there's too many bands somehow. Despite the fact we've only ever seen one band in this show and no other existence of a second, there are too many bands at this all-girls academy that want to be in the cultural festival to play music. So we are introduced to Shiho, who used to play guitar and vocals what's this? Are they SS Girls?
SS Girls, yeah.
What a name. And we learn a little bit about her through Yori looking at Aki and going, hey, I want to know more about this chick because they confront her when they turn in their application to apply for the audition slot. They run into each other in the hallway, and she goes like, yeah, I saw you perform. You're kind of mid. We're going to blow you out of the water. And Yori's like, okay, Aki, you got to tell me about her. And they may have been gay once. It's tricky to tell. But Shiho left because she takes music very seriously, and while Aki told her that was fine, they got into it, because Shiho was like, you guys fucking suck, we keep making mistakes, and Aki was like, yeah, well, your singing's wrong, and Shiho was like, fuck you, I'm out of here. Very, very good and wholesome conversation. So Shiho goes and forms a band with two characters out of completely different animes and manga genres. One of them is a basketball player from Kuroko no Basketball, but a female. She is a massive, tall, just big old gal. And the implication is that her and Momoko might be a thing. They kind of flirt a little. It seems like they're more of the thing than Shiho is with them. But yeah, so it's those three. I think the other one's name is Hajime. So it's Momoko, Hajime, and Shiho. And they go to the cooking club meeting, and Himari's like, "Would you help us bake goods for the cultural festival?" And Shiho's like, "No, I don't want to do that." And Himari goes, "Pretty please," and does a puppy dog face. And she goes, "Shit, what the fuck is this? Is this first year?" And then she goes, I cook goods for my girlfriend." She goes, "You're a first year with a girlfriend? What the fuck is wrong with our school? How did you get here? What kind of riz do you have?" And then Momoko's like, "Don't you like Himari?" And Shiho goes, "I don't hate her." Well, no, Shiho goes, "I don't really like her." And Himari goes, "You don't like me?" And she goes, No, I don't hate you." And Himari's like, "Oh, that's good at least." And then they go to the cultural festival, and they play the ED. SS Girls plays the ED, and it's fine. And then they play another new song, I think? Do they play two here or just one? They might just play the ED, and it cuts. I think they just play the ED, and it cuts. And then Shiho's group, which is called Lorelei, gets up on stage, and it has the raddest musical number of this entire show. This goes fucking hard. Mm-hmm. Like, really cool vocals, just completely different genre than, like, anything we've heard this season overall. And, like, completely different sound. And then at the end, Shiho goes up to Aki and is like, so, you like my performance, right? Do you like it better than the girl you have a major crush on? I'm causing problems. And we also have a bit where Himari's like, I don't know a lot about music, but they're clearly good. When she hears their band play, she's like, I don't know what makes you good at music or what makes you bad, but that's fucking good. That's all I know. I like that. What I'll say about this show is I like that the tension is largely between Shiho and Aki, and not like Shiho trying to steal Himari from Yori. Because I was very worried we were going to move in that direction, because that's typically how these kind of story structures go. But it doesn't seem to be the case. This is a neat little thing. The show's still cute. Its animation's a little rough. Thanks, Yokohama. They're trying. Oh, this is a scene where Himari hyperspeeds into Yori, but that's okay. She comes off the speed at, like, fucking Mach 5. It had me dying.
So funny.
I noticed it while we were watching the actual scene. I'm like, oh, what a touching moment. Oh, no! And I had to back it up for Mason, because he didn't comment on it. I'm like, oh, he might not have noticed. I have to break his brain.
It was so...
This was a fun watch, because some of it was really bad. And there were some silly things here. But, like, I also enjoy the show. I like the characters. I enjoy this new band and their dynamic. I think it's neat. The show is definitely towards the bottom of the group, though. You're not going to convince me to put it above Spice and Wolf, and you're not going to convince me to put it above Yada, very clearly. And if Go-Go had, like, a more straight, like, to the point episode where I felt like it actually hit all its stuff really well, it's probably better than this. But, like, I liked it this week. I had a good time. I enjoyed it, and the music was rad. So it gets points above Jellyfish for me with that. Michael? Whisper?
You know, I liked episode 6 a lot. Episode 6, just watching the two of them out on their little shopping date was cute. It was adorable. I think I'm just not a big fan of the show's drama. I don't care.
That's fair.
Like that, I think that's what I like. Episode 6 I liked because I just liked seeing Yori and Himari do cute things. They were great. I love the two of them. They're wonderful. When it's like the two of them doing cute things together. And then, like, episode 6, like, it's like, oh, look, she was part of the band and she's an asshole. And I'm like, wow, I've never seen that trope before from a person. Definitely not by a character with the same name. One of the characters in Project Sekai is named Shiho, and she leaves the band because they aren't serious enough. That is actually exactly how that group's dynamic starts. The show's fine.
Don't fix it.
It's just funny that both of them are named
Yes.
Shiho. I think that's hilarious. I don't know. I just don't particularly care. I just, like, when we got to episode 7, we started getting all this, like, drama stuff. I was like, yeah, whatever. When they had Aki still being, like, jealous, I was like, sure. Why do I care that Aki's still jealous? Also, Aki pushing this whole, don't you forget, I'm her best friend. You may be her girlfriend, but I'm the best friend. I was like, okay, whatever.
I think that's a really silly bit.
It is silly, but it's also like, okay. And it's not even like her talking to Himari about it was fine, but it's like her constantly going up to Yori being like, don't you forget, I'm your best friend. I was like, okay.
And Yori's like,
whatever.
yeah, why are you doing this? You're
Yeah,
weird.
anyway. Yeah, stop being weird, Labath. I don't know. The show's neat. Yeah, some of the animation problems definitely started rear their ugly heads these episodes compared to some of our other shows that looked really good.
Yeah. Well, we went from
There's
watching.
some shots that ooh.
We watched this, and then I watched Michael watch the end of Yada, and I'm like, oh my fucking god.
And everyone goes bad cry.
Yeah, the difference is night and day. It's insane. It's odd because, like, there are moments I really like in this show and in these two episodes. Like, after they're together, they go up on the roof and they do their thing, and Yori's like, "This is what we've been doing. I kind of wanted us to do more now that we're a couple." And she's like, "What if I actively flirt with her?" And Himari's like, "You're being weird."
Then we see some premarital hand holding.
Yeah, they go hard on the hand holding. She chooses the interlocked finger grip, and it makes Yori's mind break. She's
Again,
like, "This grip."
Yeah, it's also a lot of the issues. Like a lot of these, it's like, and they're like, "Oh, this is just what we've been doing before." It's like, yeah, that's like the romance trope. That like,
yeah.
It's just what we've been doing before, but now there's a label on it. Like,
yeah. But Himari like kind of what I like is Himari like squashes that problem, where she's just like,
yeah.
But like we get to spend time with each other, and now we know what we are, and now it's dedicated time with each other, and that's what we want. And she's like, "True, actually, I didn't think about it like that."
Yeah.
Small child, small girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the two of them are adorable. I just don't particularly care about anything with this other band right now.
I know why John likes this show, so it's okay that he's not here to talk.
No,
about
it's
it.
fair.
We have a very clear, obvious reason.
There are parts of this show that people will like.
Yeah, and like I said, we know who's holding John at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Look, we're getting to the point.
Frigata?
We're getting to the point in time where the Yokohama Animation Lab just has to go. It can't last that long. Not until they reach peak banger levels of content. And my Gatsu Warheisers is just not on this podcast, so it'll never happen. I will at some point get you guys to watch that show, because you have to understand how interesting that concept is and how fucking atrocious it looks by the end of the show. You can't physically imagine this, but worse in an action show. You cannot comprehend. Mason, Yada.
So Yatagarasu, I'm going to be really honest. I remember the important plot points of it. I do not exactly remember the order that they happen.
Okay, you want me to help out?
Yes.
So we have an event going on. Do you remember the name of it? Yeah,
is the Tanabata. Where it is some event where it is expected that the prince will have to show up at the Cherry Blossom Palace and meet all of the potential consorts.
They all make a kimono for him.
Yep, and
the Red House.
Yeah, the Red House actively So it's the Western House. I did finally get a pin on who's all the princesses, because they make a point of it in one of these episodes.
Because our main girl's the East, and this one's the West, and the other two are North and South.
Yes.
Particularly, the Psycho is the North.
Yes, the Psycho is the North, and therefore the heavy-handed, the drunk one is the South. So at the Tanabata, the Western princess is the only one who actually sews her full kimono. It's expected that most of them only really do the last stitch, and then handmaidens do the rest, so they can say that they did it. But at this gathering, they're all kind of milling about, and it comes up that our Eastern princess plays the koto, and we have this really interesting scene of them all going, "No, you're playing the koto for us now." And a makeshift concert happens.
Yeah, so the princess, the younger sister of the brothers, who is childhood friends with this girl, is like, "Hey, I brought your koto. Show them what you can do." And that's kind of the idea of the scene. And she also has this assistant here who she's temporarily lent to her. She's been visiting her a lot at this point so far, and she will in a little bit temporarily lend her to her.
Yes. So there's a really well shot concert scene of her playing the koto, and the song's beautiful in a really haunting way.
And everybody kind of wises up and is like, "Oh shit, she's not talentless."
She has a thing going for her. She's not easy competition.
But also,
so after this performance, the the Southern House's
Yes.
handmaiden, the older woman comes up to her and is like, "Hey, good job playing the Kodo. It reminds me of this one lady who was a consort to the prince and fucking died. Kind of sounds like this woman whose name you should recognize. I think it's your mom." And it causes a big stir, and the Eastern House's girl runs away, where the handmaiden ends up following her, and she kind of breaks down a bit. And then the princess follows her, and also the princess does get called out as well because she's giving favoritism to one of the houses when she should be a neutral party. And basically the princess looks at that and goes, no, I'm just favoring her at this point. Fuck you guys. Which is really funny, honestly.
So her name is the we said Western House, right? Or Eastern?
Eastern.
Her name is Asebi.
Asebi, yes. Sorry, there are a lot of names in the show. Asebi talks with the handmaiden for the princess and basically goes, "I need to know who my mother is. You're going to figure that out for me, right?" "Well, I can't do that." "Well, you're going to do that, or some bad things are going to happen, and I'll be fine. It's fine. No worries. I'll back away now." Mm-hmm. And just vaguely threatens.
And we'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
Before the other thing happens in the Cherry Blossom Palace, we cut back to our main crew, Yukiya and the prince, and they're supposed to be on their way to Tanabata.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. We opened with the stinger from last week, where the assistant to his brother shows up and is like, "Hey, I want to help you so that people don't come try to kill you, so that your brother doesn't look like an asshole when you eventually become king. Because when you eventually become emperor. Because you will become emperor. He doesn't want to stop you from becoming emperor. I promise you that. I want you to believe me, so let's work together to stop the assassination attempts." And so they talk, and the prince pitches some kind of thing he wants him to do, and he goes off and does that. And then we come back later, and they're like, "Okay, you have to go to Tanabata." And he's like, "Okay, Yuki, you're gonna stay here and hold down the fort while I go off." And as soon as he leaves, a messenger from the Southern House arrives, which is the royal family's, the latest royal family's consort is from there, so they're the important side where this would be coming from. So theoretically, whatever he asked the assistant to be doing would be coming from them. So Yukiya then fucking chases him down and is like, hey, you've been invited to a meeting at the Southern House, but you're supposed to be at Tanabata. What do you want to do? And he goes, fuck Tanabata, go solve that for me. And he fucks off. So we get a really dope scene where this supporter of the Southern House is talking to the prince's brother, and he goes, "Yeah, so, like, he wanted to talk to me about stuff. And, you know, I didn't really want to talk to him, so I said, hey, come to the Southern House and we'll talk today." And he won't come. He has Tanabata. He can't miss that. And then the prince walks through the door and he goes, "What the fuck?" And we find out that his brother's assistant was the one who pitched him this idea, because there's no way he would ever show up if you invited him on the day of an important event he had to be at. And then we will come back to this later. And this episode ends with the Shiratama, who's the one from the Northern House in the Cherry Blossom Palace, going to the woman from the Southern House and blackmailing her.
Yep, where she basically tells her, like, "I know what you did before you were up for being a consort. I know how you operate. So you either have a choice. You can either join me and we can give you all that you need to succeed and we will give you privileges. Or you can go against me and I will make sure you never get out of here and you'll never be respectful again or respectable again." So obviously she chooses the former.
Yeah, she's basically hedging her bets, saying, if I get the Southern House on my side, I can deal with the East and the West, no problem. Because the Southern House is the one that is favored by the current Empress. So they will believe anything I say. Is her plan. We also then learn in the start of the next episode, through some of the conversation with the prince and the people in the Southern House, that the consort who's at the Cherry Blossom Palace is not his real daughter. which is part of what she's holding over her. We can kind of infer.
She's adopted, and she's not even like adopted before another daughter was born. Like, he had a daughter and then adopted her and still sent her away.
Yeah. So what's wrong with his other daughter? Yukiya has to cover up for the prince's reason for not showing up, and he's like, he had something really important to go on. I'm very sorry. They're like, what's more important than this? At least tell us this. Why does he not write to us? And Yukiya goes, what? No, the prince writes to these girls all the time. I watch him do it. I see the letters go out. What do you mean? And she's like, the letters haven't gotten here. And Yukiya's like, weird. Bye. Jumps off the building. And so everybody's upset because there will be no Tanabata. And then we have lots of political conversation with the Southern House. I don't really remember a lot of this conversation, I'm not going to lie.
It's basically just there as a... if you're talking about in the Cherry Blossom Palace, I'm not sure exactly.
No, the conversation with the prince. Yeah.
So with the prince, it's functionally just there so that he can dunk on the Southern House's guy.
Yeah.
Before his brother, Natsuka, tells him to stop being a prick.
And also to be careful, because he might get assassinated, and there's nothing he could do about that if it happened. He can't control his supporters. He basically outright says it.
Yep. While this is happening as well, Yukiya gets cornered by Alexander the Great from Fate.
Rohan?
Yeah. I don't know.
Something like
Skandar,
that?
King of Conquerors, the guy.
Yeah. I think it is Rohan. Rokan, yes. And Rokan basically just looks at him and goes, hey, I know you were at that meeting where I killed that guy. You don't have to hide it. I just want you to join our side. You seem like a good worker. You're smart. Like, come on, man. He's gonna be the emperor. And Yuki goes, no. I don't even want to be his aide. I'm only here for a year, and finishing that out, I'm going the fuck home. And Rokan's just like, but like, why wouldn't you want to be this? So he's like, I'm telling you, man, I'm not going with you. Also, like, I don't like the prince. He's kind of an asshole, and I don't want to be around him for that long.
Meanwhile, the prince walks in.
He goes, hey, that's not very nice. Yukiya goes, yeah, whatever.
And Rokan goes, by the way, your boy Sumio ran the fuck away. He's a coward and he's afraid of me. And he walks away, and then Sumio pops out of the bushes and goes, is Rokan finally gone? God, I hate that guy.
Hate that guy.
I just don't like him.
And the prince is like, he said you were afraid of him. And Sumio goes, oh yeah, he wants to fucking fight? Let's go. I love this interaction. This whole interaction is incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cutting back to the Cherry Blossom Palace, we get a bit more with Asebi and the princess, and basically Asebi kind of like strong arms her way into convincing the princess to lend her one handmaiden for like 2 weeks. And Asebi uses this time with her to just kind of bully her into trying to get classified documents, it seems like, that might prove who her mother was and give the full story.
She's trying to reach out to one person in the house that she knows knew her mother, who she thinks she can trust to get information, and she does get some kind of letter back that gives her some kind of confirmation, but not exactly what she's looking for.
Yeah.
And because she's reading a letter by the pond, she gets bullied.
And almost kind of killed.
Almost drowns in a shallow pond.
Yeah. So she is reading a letter, and the consort from the north comes in and is like, hey, the fuck is that letter? Probably one of those letters that the prince sent you. Why is he sending them to you and not me?
I bet you're stealing the letters, bitch.
I bet you're, yeah. And Asebi goes, no, I'm not doing that. And the northern girl says, well, let me see the letter then. She refuses and pushes her into the pond.
Well, they struggle and Asebi slaps her by accident. Accident. reactively slaps her, and she's like, "Oh, you want to play this game?" and then shoves her into the water.
Mm-hmm. And she almost drowns until the Western House consort. I'm sorry that I don't have these names.
Her name's Wild. Don't even bother. You're fine.
Fair. Pulls her out of the pond and goes, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing? You assaulted her and almost killed her." And the Northern girl responds with, "No, she started it. Also, she's stealing the letters, and I can bully the rest of into everyone into believing that you guys are conspiring against me." So basically, if any of you try and get the prince, you're not. I'm going to ruin you. But if any of you happen to marry him, I will just kill myself right with this knife, and pulls a knife out on them.
And they're like, "You live a very lonely life," and she goes, "Yeah, fuck you." And the implication for her motive seems to be that the Northern House has never gotten any good deal ever, because all the houses represent some kind of resource or idea, and her house is warriors, and the nobility particularly looks down on warriors. It's not money, it's not resources, it's not whatever.
Art.
Art, whatever. Yeah, I think those are how they do it.
Yeah, it's east is music, west is
I think it's merchandise. I think it's like trade.
No, because south is trade.
Okay, then they're money. Because one's money, the other's trade. I'm pretty sure. Like, one's pure wealth, the other's...
I thought there was something else. But you could be right.
I could be wrong. It's been a while since... That's in episode 6 they do that breakdown, because that's when she's talking to the southern consort. While Mason goes and gets that, they go. Sebi goes back and talks with the other consort, and they're like, "We'll just have to tread things carefully." Meanwhile, we see the princess's aide looking out over a balcony, and a figure approaches behind her, and then we cut back to Yukiya and the prince and Sumio as they're walking back home, and they're talking, and they have a conversation about other reasons why it's okay that the prince didn't go to Tanabata, which is maybe the most based explanation ever, where he goes, "Me visiting the Cherry Blossom Palace makes those girls want to kill each other. Like, it engages them in a game of politics and subterfuge that will result in their deaths. That's not something I want to bring upon them. I would rather just pick one when the time comes and they have little reason to have to hate each other or fight, or if I take another consort, result in assassinations or anything. I'm trying to limit the amount of underhanded tactics that go on there so that they can live the most peaceful life possible afterwards." Which is an incredibly thoughtful way to view this. Once again, showing that he is not an idiot and really does care about these people and is just trying to play the game as carefully as he can. And then we have the end stinger, which is Sumio has been called away to find out that the princess's aide was pushed off the Cherry Blossom Palace and has fallen to her death. And that's where that ends.
So it's not wealth, by the way.
What is it?
It's southern merchants, eastern musicians, northern warriors, and western artisans.
It's artisans. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the politics in episode 6, in one end you have to fuck another. As there's a lot of words, a lot of politics, a lot of names. That's not what I'm here for. Episode 7 though, episode 7 was sick.
Episode 7 went crazy.
Yeah, I've already enjoyed the Yukiya stuff forever. Everything with him is so fun. Him and the prince are just a wonderful little duo. Ushio's great. Like, that's all wonderful. And then we get like the actual they start building like the drama stuff in the Cherry Blossom Palace or whatever in episode 7, and like the end of I was like, hold up, wait, they're cooking over here now. We got they're finally like really connecting their two stories into one like actual thing happening.
Yeah.
And not just they're here and he's there and he should be there but he's not. Like, they're finally doing something that makes me want to actually watch that portion of the show, and it's like kind of cool.
It's good. it's genuinely good. You just have to kind of get through how lengthy and verbose it is.
Yeah. And with that, we have reached the end of our shows to discuss this week. I really like Yatagarasu. I'm not ready to get rid of it anytime too soon, is what I'll say. That's for sure. Whoops. Voting is up.
Thank you, John, for that name.
Goes. So, breaking it down, we got full saves on Windbreaker, Kaiju, and Yata. We have one slay on Spice and Wolf and Girls Band Cry. We have 3 slays on Whisper Me a Love Song. I wonder who didn't slay it. Perhaps he's not here. But then we have full slays on Go-Go and Jellyfish. Which did kind of feel like the thing that was bound to happen this week coming out of it.
Yeah.
Not particularly surprising not particularly surprised by this outcome. It felt very much like Jellyfish just dropped the ball on what was probably a week it really needed not to do it. And just Go-Go, while not a bad show, just did some things. I'm excited next week as we have a duel between is Spice and Wolf good, and can Whisper Me a Love Song survive through another week? I wonder what will happen. But yeah. So we move on to episode 8. We'll watch that. Vote the next show out. Move on to episode 9s. Vote the next show out. Go on to episode 10. Vote the next show out. And then I think we're on top 3. Does that math check out? We had 8 here. We just voted 2 off. We go down to 6. We go down to 5. We go down to 4.
3 more.
Yeah.
We got vote of 3 more.
And then we have to get ready to decide what the fuck we're doing for summer and how summer's gonna work.
Are we going to skip a summer season again? For the 3rd year in a row?
I almost feel like we have to do everything in our power to try, because my summer graphics just don't get used. I feel so bad for the summer season. And low-key, I've heard that there are some interesting shows that are actually going to be, that might actually be kind of, I think summer will be a season that will look really bad and might feel really bad at first, but then we'll have some like bangers hidden within them. And that makes me really excited, because when was the last time we had a dog shit season, largely? This is why we need to stop skipping summer. Summer's like the bad season, sometimes.
Counterpoint. The season that had Requiem for a Rose King.
Yeah.
That was the Sasaki and Miyano season, I believe.
I think Sasaki and Miyano was a winter season.
I thought so was Requiem. Or was that a fall?
Here, hold on. I have the document. Oh, not that one. Where did I put it? Is it in here? There it is. Because Sasaki to Miyano was... Yep, Sasaki to Miyano was a winter season. The last summer season we did had Licorice, Yakuza, and Call of the Night.
That was a good season.
And then the one before that was Vanitas, Sunny Boy, Realist Hero, which was a slightly less good season overall. There were some bad shows that season.
Yeah. Was that Battle Game?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a season where we had 2 podcasts. Shh, we don't talk about it. There were a lot of bad things that season. Realistically, I should not have picked Battle Game. I should have picked Duke of Death, but it happens.
What can you do?
Duke of Death probably would have gone off pretty quick, though. There are some scenes that are a little risque, but I really like that show. But yep, that's that. So, Go-Go and Jellyfish are gone. 2 more shows that are not on Crunchyroll. Let's go! They're almost all gone. We're just gonna have to fight really hard for one of them to go off. How unfortunate. It's a shame that we can also... It's basically like watching it on Crunchyroll, because Michael just has it. Michael, you're our honorary Crunchyroll of the season. Congrats.
Holy shit.
Who do you want to absorb under your umbrella? You get to choose. Who's next?
Please say hi, Dev. Please say hi, Dev. Please say hi, Dev.
This isn't true. We like other existing streaming platforms, but it's just paying for multiple is a pain.
Yeah.
Competition is good though. Crunchyroll should not own it all.
True.
But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you maybe in a couple days, maybe next week. We're gonna probably talk tomorrow about that.
Who's to say?
Probably it'll probably be like another Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll see what we'll do.